real deal. He doesn't talk, he doesn't shows them how.
Smooth.
It's a swingy little number.
And so it goes, Rana.
And that was short and sweet. So yeah, Shubman Gill and Nitish Rana, the two openers for Kolkata. And it is indeed going to be the bedreadlocked Jofra Archer who's going to be opening the bowling.
He will break your helmet, break your heart. Hotter than lava, cooler than Bogart. In your face, at your stumps, on your toes, on your mum. Jofra.
Right, I think Knuckles finished doing his repairing of things.
I can confirm we are live on Facebook.
I will let Knuckle resume his position. No, he won't.
No, he won't let you.
No.
Right, we're just about to get underway. Here comes Jofra on his shortish run into the crease now. He's got a slip in place. This is edged. Oh, that would have been swallowed up by Gully had there been one. There wasn't there. There was a backward point. And Shubman Gill edging that first ball. And he's very fortunately off the mark with one down to third man. Yowza.
That wasn't a bad way to start the innings, wasn't it? Just like right on the button.
Yeah, not fully cranked up. It's probably only around 88, 89 miles an hour. Gill will be happy enough, or I would be if I were him, to be up the other end now. Over to you, Nitish. See what you can do.
Yeah.
Two slips in place now.
Quick single followed by no, wait.
Yeah, leaning very much on your bat. Not going to be a Mancad candidate. So left-hander Rana is on strike now. Here comes Jofra. A shorter delivery. Is that feather through to the keeper? It jolly well is, according to the players. I haven't seen the umpire give it, but I think he must have given it. So having almost got Gill with the first ball of the match, he does have Rana for a Goldie, and KKR are 1 for 1.
2. Ooh!
Then he waddled away, waddle.
However,
I'm not sure if he's got the review in time.
A last
he has.
second
Rifle's
review.
Rifle's going through the square window.
I was definitely in. Were you definitely in? I don't know.
He doesn't look particularly confident, does he, Rana?
He's like, I did I hit my arm? Did the ball hit my arm? Well, if it's hit anything, it's at the outside edge of the bat.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not near anything else to have hit, so it's either hit something, in which case he's out, or it's hit nothing and he's not out. We are seeing the Ultra Edge graphic now. Past the edge, there's a tiny little scratch.
Goodbye.
He is going to have to go, and I suspect he knew he'd feathered it, and just disappointment it was that persuaded him to review. But foolishly so, as it turns out.
Then he waddled away, waddle.
Double duck for you, my friend.
He will go and drool the drool of regret into the pillow of remorse.
With the saliva of misinterpretation. So he's got a first baller and he's burnt the review for his team as well. How do you feel? Go and have a little sit down. Don't speak to anyone.
At the very end of the bench, go and think about what you've done. It's
the inflatable boy in the inflatable school. It's not everyone else who've let it down. Right. So we have Tripathi has come to the crease, and his jingle goes a bit like this.
He's a big hitter, so what will his captain do now? He's gonna play Tripathi, right-hand batsman, yeah. Takes bowlers so long to get him out, yeah.
And at this rate, we'll be done by 3.
Well, he looks ready as he'll ever be. A menacing little grin from Jofra at the top of his mark. He's into the crease now. It's another full delivery on Midland leg, and it's pushed back to him defensively. Well watched by Tripathi. They just want to get through this over now, see off the big man, and then see what they can do from the other end. Just seeing another replay of the Rana dismissal. They were very happy with it. Both bowler and keeper were up immediately, and they were proven correct.
It's the height that comes through, that kind of like can't pull, can't cut, can't do anything with it. Reminds me so much of the likes of Ambrose and Walsh.
Oh, this ball cut him in half. Just trying to play that from the crease, but it jagged in at him, and he's played all around it while thrusting his arse to square leg.
Stumps either by very much.
Yeah, it was a little bit short though, so I think he'd been unlucky to have been bowled. Beautiful seam position, and it did indeed hit the seam, and he had no chance with that. What a terrific first over this is from Jofra. He's gone for one run, and that was aerially through where Gully would have been.
The look on Ben Stokes and Steve Smith's face was, I'm glad he's on our team.
Yeah, and trying to make hay here, stepping away to square leg and looking to carve that over the offside. He gets nothing on it. It was another good length ball and just probably threw him a bit too quickly once more. So one ball left in this first over. It's been eventful. We've had a wicket, golden duck. That was Nitish Rana who had to go after a review, feathered behind, and pretty much every ball has tested whichever batsman he's bowled to, and he's bowled to 3 of them so far in this over, and no one's had a Scooby. Here he comes to complete the over. 2 slips in place, very close together. He's blotted his copybook there though, looking to bowl a short one. It goes down the leg side, and he'll have to bowl that one again, Jofra.
Not quite of a chamois proportion though, that one.
Wide.
Was it chamois, Al?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Grubby, you missed the curse of all curses. It was fabulous. Yeah? Fabulous.
5 dot balls.
Oh, hang on a minute. He didn't give it as a wide.
Good Lord.
He didn't give that ball as a wide. It was short. It was dug in. It seemed to go down the arse, I thought.
Oh no, that was definitely, that was such a wide.
And umpire Rifle has not given it. Well, and indeed well. 3 holes in the ground.
Yeah.
King of the dad jokes.
Yeah, that is one of my dad's actually. My dad might be listening.
Well, my dad
Thanks for that one, Pete.
Yes, my dad as well used to do that one all the time.
And hello to Barbara, who I know is tuned in as well. That's my mum, in case you didn't know, which of course you do.
Mr. and Mrs. Grubby, hello.
Warren, with us on Hot Mic, I'm delighted to say.
Good old Warren.
Square window reference.
He's always there on Hot Mic. Love that. Here comes Varun Aaron, starting a new over. This is just on a length and played slightly suspiciously by Gill. Remember, he could have been caught off his first ball if there'd been a gully, but there wasn't. And he plays it, as I say, quite suspiciously to point, and there is no run. Varun Aaron, only 31 years old.
A child.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or more. The bloody red Baron, he was rolling up the score.
I guess because he hasn't played in the Test side, he's not even anywhere near it, has he, the last few years? He's off radar. I just assumed he was in his late 30s. This is driven to mid-off, where Stephen Smith does the fielding, and idiosyncratically hurls it back into the keeper. And there is no run.
Also on Hot Mic, someone called Fred Titmus wants to know, who are these bearded weirdos?
Is that a rhetorical question? And was that a rhetorical question? And was that?
Well, and where would we be if we didn't have rhetorical questions?
And if one fell over in a forest and no one was there to hear it, would it still exist?
Yeah. But if, yeah.
How much would a woodchuck chuck? A woodchuck would.
Varun Aaron is in again. He has 1 slip in place. This is whipped away for some blessed relief there from Shubman Gill. He's going to get 4.
Relief you're not allowed at the moment. Apparently.
That's not blessed
relief. We were finding out earlier. all rather too late, though.
Just smile, wave, and go with it, Grub. 4 runs.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Yeah, sometimes there are disadvantages, Grub, if you're going on the second game of the double header. Just,
Yeah. Well, I'll take your word for it. Some relief of some sort there for Shubman Gill, getting 4 to square leg. He's facing up once more outside the off stump. A little bit of a slower ball there from Varun Aaron, a bit of shape through the air as well. And all things considered, that just totally flummoxed Shubman Gill. It's through to Sampson behind the sticks, and there is no run. 5 for 1 is the score. 2 balls left of the second over.
When we were watching Kings 11, we all kind of picked up on the idea that everybody was so flat, that there there was no sense that they were going to grasp the moment. I mean, it's only early days, second over and everything, but Rajasthan really seem it's like, okay, if we play well, we can be in the final four.
Yeah.
Everyone seems at it.
Aaron up to the crease again. This is whipped aerially over mid-wicket. One bounce, and Gill's going to get his second four of the over. Good shot.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Those extra 5 or 10 kphs make all the difference, because he's bowled a couple of similar lined balls to Jofra in the previous over, but he's not got that snap that Jofra has, not at this point in his career. He has been quite quick in his time, hasn't he? Aaron famously hit Stuart Broad in the head, and very neatly divided his batting career into separate halves, didn't he?
Although he's making a bit of a comeback batting wise, I think, is Stuart Broad at the moment.
Yeah,
only because there's no one there to watch it.
And with that lovely shot, Shubman Gill goes to over 1,000 runs in IPL cricket. Well done to him. 9 for 1 ball left in the second. Bit of a field adjustment taking place, just packing that leg side. He has looked quite leg side dominant in this over, looking to work most things through that area. And here comes Aaron to complete his over. Short again, and it's pulled again. He doesn't quite get all of it, but he's got enough of it that it's going to go to the mid-wicket boundary for the third one of these of the over. So just finding his stride there, Shubman Gill. He's a very talented player. I think he was one of the youngest players to score a first-class double 100, if my memory serves me correctly. Oranji. He'd have been, I don't know, 18 or thereabouts, I think, did that. But very different kettle of fish today. Spiteful, brilliant first over from Jofra Archer. Went for just the one run and took that wicket. But Kolkata making a much better fist of that second over that was bowled by Varun Aaron and went for 12, courtesy of those 3 boundary fours all through the leg side. Here comes Archer, unsurprisingly, to continue. This one is short once more, and he ducks under it. Looks to the square leg umpire as if to plead for some sort of help, but actually I think that was straighter than the one that wasn't given a wide at the end of the last over.
Yeah, you could see that one was definitely went over what would have been the head and neck area had it been that he hadn't quite wisely dived out of the way of it.
Head and neck tend to be fairly adjacent in most cases.
But if I can infer a mood from looking at Tripathi's face there, it was help. He gets one on his legs here, looking for a quick single as the ball rolls out into the mid-wicket area. But Gill says, not on your Nelly, mate. I'm staying up the non-strikers end. Thanks very much.
Just seeing some highlights of that over, the first over. 144, 144, 142, 144 kph, and all right on the button as well.
He really is attacking the body at the moment, and this one is up around the ribs of Tripathi. You get something on it, I think a little bit of inside edge down to long leg, and if that is the case, he will be off the mark.
And incredibly relieved.
And relieved to be away from the firing line.
Did you get the fence? It was leave me alone.
Yeah.
What have I done to you? What have I done to you?
Plaintive look to the square leg umpire. It really was like, mummy, help.
Yeah. Am I allowed another bat? You come and take these 5. There's nothing I can do with them.
So Gill is who waits now, buoyed by the 3-4s in the previous over. Interestingly, a leg slip in place this time as he dabs this one backward of point, and there is no run. So there's a slip and a leg slip in place.
Has Stephen Smith been possessed by the spirit of Gary Naylor, do you think?
Well, given the line that Jofra is bowling here, I think that's a pretty good position to bring in. He will be threatening both edges of the bat if he continues in this manner. And sometimes when he's good, he is unplayable, Jofra. Here he is again, line and length, top of middle and leg, and he just leans on this. Well, I don't think he did he? He leant on it, found a bit of a gap in the mid-wicket area, jogged the single, didn't even entertain the possibility of a second. So Tripathi has to come and face the music again one last time in this over. The score is 15 for 1 with that 1 ball left in the third. And Jofra has figures of 1 for 3 thus far. In he comes again. Leg slip still in place. Short, angled in again towards the body, and he jams down on the ball as it rolls backward of square offside, and that completes the third over. 15 for 1. What do we got?
We have got Jay Grover saying, "Oh man, Andy always makes me feel guilty. It's horrible because I know he's right." Muttley says, "Still here, supporting Kolkata this match. Woof." Jersey Oak says the winner of this will go through unless Hyderabad can beat Mumbai on Monday.
Which
Got a
could
feeling
happen.
they might, though. I have to say, I put my money behind Hyderabad earlier. Muttley says a woodchuck would chuck no amount of wood because a woodchuck can't chuck wood. So that's that rhetorical woodchuck related question answered.
Well,
Wobble Scene says Baron Aaron caused a splatter on Broad's nose, not head.
Well, where is your nose? I mean, honestly, the levels of pedantry that you sometimes get from our listeners. Really,
You've got a
You
different
can take
version
that
of
two ways.
operation
Don't
than
you
I
mean
got.
Stuart Broad rather than Travis Head?
We've got a change in the bowling anyway.
we do.
Aaron's only had one over in. That's going to be.
Hey, Shreyas Gopal song. Hey, Shreyas Gopal. Bats and bowls.
His first delivery is tossed up, and that is played aerially just over. I think that's Jofra at mid-off. It's just over his head, and a couple of bounces into the rope for 4. Well, A, it's nice to see leg spin in the game so early, I think, and B, it's nice to see him tossing his first ball up. He might feel a little bit aggrieved that he didn't get something out of that, actually, because he did him in the flight a bit, and Jofra, not a small man, couldn't reach it.
No, it was quite some distance above him, wasn't it?
He definitely didn't get there. This is a bit shorter, and he's back in his crease and pulling us on a bit of a filthy delivery, that one. But such is the way. He was going to get away with it, but Ben Stokes has tipped it round the corner into the boundary sponge, and it goes for the second successive 4.
He wanted to tip it behind for a corner, then his free arm kind of punched it into his own net, didn't it? Really, that was
Definite strategy here. Hit out at whoever isn't Jofra Archer.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got 16 overs.
Gopal in for his third ball, and it's flighted outside the off stump and just pushed wide of Jofra Archer at mid-off, and they are through for a single. So Shubman Gill looks in pretty decent touch here. He's not been flawless or faultless his innings by any means, but he's certainly got some much needed impetus into the early part of this KKR innings.
Well,
very, very little help from anyone else at the moment. He's got 23 of the 24 runs to be scored.
With the way that they're trying to smash him out of the attack, I think Gopal, hopefully it brings the tossed up googly into play. Give a bit of air.
Got to be in the post, isn't it?
Come on, Gopal.
You get brand points out if this next ball is indeed the Google. Let's see. Tosses it up. It might have been. We'll have to see. But it's been swept aerially. A couple of bounces. That's going to go to the square leg boundary. So Tripathi comes to the party and gets his first 4. No, it was the leggy. Bad luck, Al. No points. No points for you on this occasion.
Nil point.
Keep making those predictions, and like a stopped clock, you will be right at some point.
Eventually.
But a testing start this for Shreyas Gopal.
Yeah.
3 4s and a single from the first 4 deliveries that he's bowled. And he's not bowled, apart from the drag down, which was sort of unfortunately went for 4 as Ben Stokes tipped it around the post. He's bowled okay, I would say. It's just that is the game.
Aye.
Here comes Gopal again. What's he thinking to himself? Got to be the googly at some point, isn't it? He's in now, bowls. Possibly was the googly, actually. This one is cut to backward point and can't beat the man there. So a rare and precious dot ball against Gopal's bowling figures. 28 for 1 is the score. 1 ball left in the 4th over. And it's being bowled by the leg spinner, Shreyas Gopal. In he comes again now. A bit angled in towards leg stump. Back in his crease goes to Tripathi, whacks it over mid-wicket, and it crawls into the boundary for yet another one of these.
Give it to me one time. Give it to me two times. Give it to me three times. Yeah. Give it to me four times.
So
that may well be the second one over spell that we've seen today.
Yeah, so what was it, 32 off 4 overs, but 3 of those runs have come off Jofra Archer's 2 overs.
Correctamundo. And it's that sort of incisive summary that that means that you're in the king's seat there, Al.
Absolutely.
Anything on socials there? Thanks.
Well, yes. Ravi Nair says, what's the point of Grubby 78 if he's not being sparky? Has he taken inspiration from King's It, or is his mum listening in again?
My mum probably is listening in. Am I being less than sparky? I mean,
being more studious than perhaps.
Fairly sparky.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Maybe
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm drinking orange squash rather than red wine. I'll get some red wine.
There you go then. No, there's your answer.
Well, there's 2 innings.
Right, we have another change of bowling. It's a ginger ninja who has come on to bowl. The first ball is pushed to point and there is no run.
Bobble Scene, by the way, says, apologies, Grubby, didn't mean to be unnecessary pedantic. Just that Lord's nose incident reminded me.
Stokes, and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen.
This ball is tucked through the leg side by Shubman Gill. Definitely going to get one. They should race back for the second. They do indeed. And that's well done. Yeah, what was Seam saying there, Tone?
Apologies, Grubby, didn't mean to be unnecessarily pedantic. Just that Broad's nose incident reminded me back then of the Gatting nose job, and thus remember it specifically. Yeah, the where did it hit you, Mike? Well, yeah.
Well, I think X marks the spot, really. In comes Stokes once more. A slower delivery on the off stump, and Gill waits for it in his crease. Pushes it to mid-on where Jofra does the fielding, but cannot prevent the single. So 35 for 1, halfway through the 5th. So despite the early trials and tribulations, it's not been a bad first few overs, has it, for KKR?
No, Abhishek Basu on Cricket Tracker India says KKR should win. So
it's all about
colours nailed to the mast there.
We have a wide slip and someone on the 45 on the leg side behind square as well. A bit of an unholy carve at this one by Tripathi, and the ball fetches up at mid-on, and they're through for a pretty scratchy old single.
And an ugly hike.
Was.
I swear Warren is asking, Jofra, first person on your wish list if you're an IPL team owner?
Be right up there, wouldn't he? Rashid Khan would be up there as well, I imagine. Gill facing up to Ben Stokes, gets the ball on middle stump, which he works through the leg side, and a very long single is taken.
Is that like Bohemian Rhapsody?
What?
That would have been a very long
single. Yes, indeed, yeah. Was. How long was it? Like 8 minutes or something, wasn't it? It was unheard of back then.
Yeah. Like a Rolling Stone was about 6.5, 7 minutes, wasn't it?
Well, if you say so, sir. Stokes in again, shorter, and it's pulled aerially by Tripathi. The man on the boundary there leaping in the air but can't get near it, and it's gone for the first maximum of the day.
Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6.
And I think we're going to have a little run around, aren't we, in the com box? That's the end of the 5th over, 43 for 1.
Oh, you're right, we are.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's me.
It looks like you.
Well, if it looks like me, smells like me, it's probably me.
If it quacks
so
like a
me then.
If it quacks like a Tony.
If it does what? Twats like a Tony, did you say?
I said quacks.
Oh, quacks! Oh, that's all right. I thought you said if it twats like a Tony. Fine. Right, well, let's move on then from that. My hearing must be going. 43 for 1 KKR. 1 ball left of this power play. Decent start for them. Wicket very early on. Second ball indeed. Spiteful, testing, probing, challenging first over from Jofra. But if your name's not Jofra, you've been tonked around the park a bit here and there. And this one is steered nicely by Shulman Gill to mid-on. Ben Stokes does the fielding. They will get a single. And there's apart from just that rather awkward start for them, they've seemed to have got nicely on top of this situation. Now, who's who here? I can still see 4 of us, so who's doing what?
Well, I think I was meant to jump in for Al, because Al took my slot while I was sorting the tech issues earlier, which I'm glad to say are all sorted.
Right.
Fair enough. In comes Varun Aaron. Onto the back foot goes Tripathi. Steers this beautifully through cover. Step back, guided it, angled the bat, just enough punch to get it to that cover boundary. 4 more.
So yeah, Jofra Archer, 2 overs, 1 for 3, and everyone else, 3.2 overs, none for 45.
Yeah. But this could be, in a way, it's a contentious point of view, but I'll express it perhaps after this next delivery. You can probably guess where I'm going to go.
No.
Tripathi on 28 for Gill off 17, 20 off 14 for Tripathi, 47 off 30. This partnership going along very nicely. And this one is steered around, but there's a man at short fine leg, and it will just be a single. Is having a bowler you rely upon so heavily a kind of weakness? Was going to be my issue.
I don't think that's.
It enables another team to set up and know what they're going to do. See Jofra off and milk everyone else.
I don't think it's contentious at all. I mean, seeing Jofra Archer is harder said than done, and I would agree with Al that I think he's been the bowler of the tournament. He's the one bowler I've seen, even in company like Rabada and Bumrah, who was genuinely scared and hurried top-class batters
the leg
this
by
year.
the way, that last ball. This one from Aaron is steered to mid-off this time. Just a single, sorry, Knuckle.
Yeah, Archer isn't necessarily any faster on the speed gun than Rabada or Lockie Ferguson or Nortje or Bumrah, but he's hurried everyone, even the very best, and this tournament does have some of the very best top-order batters in the world. But it's absolutely the case that Rajasthan Royals' backup bowling, with the exception of Shreyas Gopal, hasn't been up to scratch.
No, well, and they've the table ultimately doesn't lie, as Aaron's going to be in again over the wicket, and this one is wristily, but not particularly effectively, bumbled away into the onside. It will net them a single, though.
It's quite well bowled, isn't it? Because he saw him coming and he speared it into his legs. Now, batsman stands still there. That is a massive wide down leg side by about a yard and a half.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. But he'd already moved so far towards where the ball ultimately went. So, as you say, the skill of the bowling was to follow him, and it was actually a leg by.
They did
leg by from probably 2 to 2.5 feet wide of the leg stump.
It was almost as wide as the one that Mohammed Shami sent down earlier today.
But yeah, well, that was the shocker that we were talking about earlier. 51 for 1, the 50's up. Last ball of this 6th over, and this one's flicked away around the corner, past long leg, and it's going to be 4 more.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
That's a remarkably good power play for KKR, given that Jofra Archer bowled 2 overs, 1 for 3.
Yeah, no, indeed. And that's what we were saying, really, wasn't it? Can the rest of the bowling attack back Jofra up? And too often the answer is that they haven't been able to.
As that previous ball... Sorry, as that previous ball made its way to the backward square leg boundary, I noticed that someone in the crowd, in the front row, had one of those old-fashioned scoreboard things that you flip over. It was a bit out of date. It said 43.
When you say someone in the crowd, there shouldn't have been someone in the crowd, should
there?
Well, what are they doing there?
Hangers on, you know.
Hanger on.
Yeah.
Looks like we're going to see a change of bowling. It's going to be Rahul Tewatia. 34 matches, 21 wickets, an economy rate of a shade over 7.
Yeah, tidy, sort of offering the sort of 5th bowler option, really, for Rajasthan.
He comes past rifle, right arm over the wicket. pushed back to him by Tripathi. It's a good start then. Any dot ball in this form of the game is a good ball. So he'll be happy enough with that start. Run rate currently, though, close to 9, which, albeit we've just finished the power play, but that's not bad going. More air this time. This one carved away to deep extra, but Ben Stokes is down there. And that was an angry piece of fielding, followed by an even angrier throw. And Ben Stokes looks decidedly miffed with life. He actually got across really well to field it. He was up in one sweet motion. And is it my imagination, or did that really speed up now, like an old 1930s black and white comedy film? As that one's just more sedately steered away by Shubman Gill down to mid-wicket, just a single this time. Yeah, there was some venom in that throw from Stokes there, wasn't there?
Well, he's many things as a cricketer, isn't he, Ben Stokes? And one thing that he is a perfectionist. So he'll still be stewing over what he will see as that mistake that he made a couple of overs ago, where he palmed the ball into the boundary.
And then also,
to be fair, it was a mistake.
And then also conceding a 6 off a top-edged hook.
Tripathi is going to be in again, past umpire rifle, and a big attempt at a expansive sweep from Tripathi, which he gets precisely nowhere near. The bails are whipped off, but I don't think his feet were never off the ground. Third umpire is Anil Chowdhury. He's going to have a look, but to me, he's solid as a rock on top of something that's already very solid there, I reckon.
Well, I don't know why Nitin Menon from Square Leg couldn't have just given that.
Yeah,
no need
there you go, because PayTM have paid a lot of money for the privilege of always having their logo appear for completely pointless reviews.
It is theoretically possible his foot could have lifted.
Theoretically possible. I could be doing this commentary from the moon. I'm not. As this one is down leg side. Now that should be a wide, I would imagine. And indeed, the rifle bird spreads his wings, and a wide is indeed signalled.
Quite the wingspan on pistol.
Yes, indeed.
Very neat keeping, though, from Sampson in this over.
It was, yeah. Perhaps illustrating why he, rather than Josh Butler, is the man in possession of those gloves. Down the track comes Tripathi. Has he got enough of that? You bet your life he has. In 6.
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stands. It's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
This is the sort of intent that KKR have lacked at the top of the order throughout the tournament.
Yes, indeed. Tewatia in, onto the back foot goes Tripathi, steers this straight to cover. And on this occasion there won't be a run. Interesting over, really.
Well,
a bit of everything. A no ball wide, a 6, 2 singles, couple of dots.
I think I think he bowled a pretty decent over there, and yet it's gone for 9. You know, he did him at least once, didn't he?
He did.
The stumping in inverted commas that never was.
Well, as we say, those it does. I mean, you and I both work in advertising, Grubby, but clearly there can be no other justification for reviewing that except to buy 60 seconds of a sponsor's screen time, isn't it?
I mean, that's rather cynical of you, Tone, I would say. Maybe they're told that if there's any shred of doubt at all, then you must do it.
It's not worth the umpire jumping to the gun and then getting it wrong, even if there's only the slightest possibility of that being the case. But that ball did seem to rather happen in slow motion, so Tripathi had a lot of time to get his foot back into the crease. Anyway, we've got a change of bowling.
We do indeed.
You won't believe the things he's saying. He even wanted to be.
Tyagi, and he got that one to swing, and it swung past the outside edge of Shubman Gill's bat. It had a bit of a wafty waft in its general direction, and through into the gloves of Sampson it goes.
Tyagi's found himself a regular in this team, the India Under-19 star. Jadevan Nadkar has found himself out of the playing 11 more often than not, and when they wanted to bring Varun Aaron back into the attack, it was Nadkar who made way and not Tyagi.
Well, the opportunity to bowl with the likes of Jofra Archer has to be a highlight early in a career and bags of learning opportunity as well. This one is not the greatest ball though, slightly short, but it's only punched to cover, and there will be I would think they would have taken a single. Maybe they didn't.
I don't think they did.
No, they didn't. Went straight to backward
Okay,
point.
well it did go straight to the fielder. 64 for 1 are the Knight Riders. Gill on 34, the party 27. Very good partnership building by these two, as it would need to. Remember, they lost that first wicket off the second ball of Jofra Archer's opening over for the innings as well. Tiagi's going to be in, right arm over, and this one is crashed through point. Is there a man down there? There is. This time there will be a run. So Tiagi gone for 2 of his first 3 balls. That's not at all a bad return. 66 for 1. 66, by the way, reminds me, I just saw the terrible news. Bobby Charlton now diagnosed with dementia after we lost Nobby Stiles this week. Not to mention Sean Connery. What a shit of a week it's been.
There's a really good film coming out about Jack Charlton.
This one is crashed again by Gill. We know there's a man down there who duly does his work. Another single. Good tight bowling this. I'm liking this from Tiagi. He's not giving the batsman any space to work with.
Well, that first ball, Tone, was real extravagant movement through the air, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was. Didn't sort of back that up with the rest of the balls, but it was good, tight, on a very good line and length that just didn't give either of these two well-set batsmen, Gill or Tripathi, too much space to work with. So
it's like Terry
4
Alderman.
balls. Terry Alderman, yes.
Or Richard Ellison.
Yes. Man of Kent, or Kentish man, I can't remember which. As this one was shorter, plenty of bounce, and Tripathi, not sure what he was he trying to sort of ramp that up over third man? Didn't get anything on it, so it's another dot. Plenty of batting to come, of course. Kartik, Morgan, Andre Russell.
Look at that strike rate, 182.
181.
That must be an IPL strike rate.
Yes, it is. He's not been anywhere near his best this tournament, and it'll be interesting to see whether he's any sort of fit.
Well, we shall see. And this one is pushed down to long on, and it will be just a single. So not too badly bowled at all. Just the 4 runs from the over. I think they will happily take that. 8 overs completed. 68 for 1. And who's our social media king in this triumvirate?
I had handed that over to Grubby if you're able to do so.
Oh, had you? I wasn't aware of that, mate. So I can't immediately. Sorry.
Okay, I can give you a few. Rennie Keita says, I work at a library these days. Every time I shelve this Archer fellow's books, I think, that's not how you spell Jofra. Farong says, Varun Aaron has at least made it into positive figures on Fantasy IPL as it stands. 1 point. Previous 2 games, -1 and -2. Wobble Seam says, given a choice between all bowlers being terrible and one of them being awesome, you cannot choose the latter, I suppose. You just hope the awesome one ends up picking up wickets in addition to not giving away runs.
Very true. This one is cut before off the bowling of Tawatia, and Tripathi will move on by 4 more. Got hold of that beautifully. Well, that said, it wasn't that far from the man at Gully, was it?
No, man at backward point is sort of, by the time he started moving, it was past him.
Yeah, I think it was aerial, but it would have been some catch. Let's put it that way. Again comes Tawatia. This one is pulled down to mid-wicket. There is a man down there. It's Jofra, who we've been talking a lot about. Just another single. 73 for 1. 7 miles an hour from Tawatia. Gill 36 off 23. And looking in good order. Tawatia has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men on the offside. He's bowling to the right-handed Shubman Gill. See what he can serve up here. 72 off 49, this partnership. That's uppish from Gill. It's away to deep mid-wicket. It's going to be taken comfortably by Joss Butler. Didn't need his gloves.
Joss Butler without the gloves on.
There it was.
Yeah, Tawatia bowled a pretty decent over last over. I mean, even the ball he got hit for 6 off wasn't a particularly bad ball, and that one he did beat Shubman Gill in the flight. It dipped on him a little bit, drifted as well, so it came off the top part of the bat. It wasn't to the pitch of the ball. Simple catch for Joss Butler. Shubman Gill's had a few occasions this year where he's slowed the game down too much for KKR, but 36 off 24, I think he's can be reasonably happy with the job he's done today.
Yeah. 73 for 2. What's first innings par at Dubai at the moment? 170.130. After 10 games it was 181. So that definitely to me represents quite a slowing down in first innings average scores.
Yeah, the
what do they need to do to get to that, chaps? Where they stand at the moment.
They are 73 for 2, so you'd need another 100 off 9.5 overs, which is eminently doable with 8 wickets in hand.
So we'd think they would be disappointed not to exceed what is the current par then, I think is...
I mean, certainly with Dinesh Karthik, I know who's been out of form this year, Owen Morgan, who's had a few good innings, and Andre Russell. And you've also got Sunil Narine and Pat Cummins, who are both capable with the bat.
Well, Andre Russell, of course, has been in... fairly dominant form. We've seen some big knocks from him.
Yeah, not so much this year.
True.
I'm worried about. I'm honestly quite worried about his fitness. He bowled 1 over. Was it last weekend when he was playing for KKR and he bowled the last over of the game or the last over of the innings and could barely walk?
Yeah, that's right. I was surprised to see his name on the team sheet, but they obviously think he's fit enough, don't they? The other question I was going to ask is there any reason why Sunil is not as an opening bat anymore in this tournament?
Well, he was at the start of the tournament, but everyone has slightly worked out that if you bowl spin at him in the power play, he's deadly, but not so good against pace. And this tournament has generally seen more pace bowlers, basically not very many spinners bowling too many power play overs. So they've moved him down into the middle order, where I didn't think honestly he would be particularly effective because he hasn't been through his career, but he's been useful in the sort of middle to lower order with the bat, and they pushed Shubman Gill, Tripathi opened a bit, and Nitish Rana as well. Basically, Narine wasn't working at the top of the order, so they moved it around. But yes, it is a bit of a change from him in the last couple of years.
Got a pretty good record against more of as a bowler against the Royals. Does Sunil Narine?
You know what he's going to do with the ball. He's very accurate. He's very economical, very clever. Moves the ball a little bit off the seam. Essentially, he's almost like a sort of slow, sort of seam bowler, really, more than a big tweaker of the ball. But he's very effective.
As I can tell you, let me see. Ben Stokes, 17 balls, 17 runs, 1 dismissal. Sampson, 45 balls, 39 runs, 3 dismissals. Smith, 42 balls, 47 runs, 2 dismissals. We'll hold that thought. It would have been a wide, I suspect, but it was just about reached and steered by Tripathi down to deep point.
And speak of the devil.
He's all right, yes, he is fine. Casts his pearls before the swine. On the field this sun will shine. 'Cause it is Sunil Narine.
It is Sunil Narine. Indeed it is. Left-hander. Strike rate of 165. He's facing Tawatia. And gets a little bit squared up, that first ball. Not a particularly elegant shot. But it is away to the offside. He won't get a run. It's a dot.
This makes sense, actually. If Tawatia and Gopal are going to be bowling most of the next few overs, then Sunil Narine in to hit the spinners makes sense.
Down the track comes Narine. Has he got enough of that? He hasn't. It's going to drop straight into the bucket-like mitts of Ben Stokes, and his innings is as short, almost as short and sweet as it can be. A duck for him, 2 balls faced, and he's gone, caught at long on.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
If you're going to fail quickly, particularly if your job is to hit the spinners out of the attack. Again, he was slightly beaten in the flight. It's a good ball from Tripathi. He got that to dip, and again, because of that dip, a little bit of extra bounce off the top part of the bat, or the top edge of the bat, and good catching by the 2 Englishmen.
I was just about to say, yes, it seems strange to see Joss Butler out there in the deep taking a catch, but he took it well, and Ben Stokes certainly took that one very tidily. It never looked for a moment, he judged it perfectly, and never looked like he wouldn't take the catch.
I think Tuati's been excellent, actually.
Yes, he has.
And I think he's thoroughly deserved those 2 wickets.
So that's anyway the end of 9 overs, 74 for 3.
Yeah, I think you can genuinely say that Tuati had beat both Shubman Gill and Sunil Narayan in the flight.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very good indeed.
Somebody want to update us on any social
Ravi Nair has been quite keen to put together some notional 11s made up of people in the IPL and people not in the IPL for a notional test match. So I've retweeted that if you want to get involved in that. It's quite good fun to play.
Well, the man at the crease now needs no introduction, but we'll give him a jingle anyway. Going to face Tyagi as the World Cup winning captain, and he immediately guides this away down to deep cover and will get himself off the mark more than his predecessor managed to do. Tripathi will be back on to strike.
Leah gets in touch to tell us about a little episode when Sunil Gavaskar said to Narayan, you've got great taste, or your dad's got great taste in names, and Narayan said, actually I was named after you. It's funny. So there we are. Thanks for that, Leah. That made us chuckle.
There you go. Indeed. Going to be Tyagi again. 1 for 5 for him so far. That one upish and away down to Joss Butler again, who's down there on the deep cover boundary. Another single. Morgan back onto strike. 1 off, 1 for him. Obviously just allowed to wear the 1 helmet. I wonder if he feels like he's sort of deficient in the headgear department to at least the tune of 1 by only being allowed.
Maybe he's wearing a cap under the helmet. We don't know.
Oh, he might do. Yes, that's true. He might be. But then he's wearing it in secret, so no one knows that he's secretly got that second one on. In comes Tyagi again. That's a good ball, and cut straight to point. No run. Just a little bit of extra bounce there, I thought, for Tyagi, and Morgan got on top of it well enough, but didn't give him the time or space to do more than punch it straight to the fielder.
Actually, they've worked well in tandem, these change bowlers, haven't they, Tuati and Tyagi? Hauling it back from Varun Aaron and who else it went the journey, as they say, early doors. Can't remember, but
Shreyas Gopal.
No, not Jofra.
Shreyas Gopal.
Jofra, 14. He's taken 14 wickets. 14 of his 19 wickets in this IPL, obviously more now, but the same would be true. I'll hold that, as that one's upishly top-edged all the way over long leg, knitted Menon, reases both his chubby arms, and it is 6.
I mean, you say top edge, but he was trying to hook it fine.
Yeah, he was. I'll take that back. I think it was more intentional than I gave it credit for.
It got what he deserved. I was bigging up the bowler, and then he bowls a piece of filth like that. It was shoulder height down the leg side. Would have been called wide if you got nothing on it. So, yeah, rubbish really.
But the stat I was about to give you was 14 of 19 wickets before today for Jofra have all been against top order batsmen. Of course, he's added to that today and increased that top order percentage, as this one is steered away to deep extra cover by Owen Morgan. Just a single this time.
Yeah, I believe that he's taken more wickets in the power play this year than anybody else. He's been magnificent.
Which is why it's surprising to find the Royals in the mire they are in.
Well, it's a little bit, Kings 11. KL Rahul, the leading run scorer by a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is by a mile. Nearly 200, isn't it?
So you need to operate as a collective, not as an individual in this game. Tiagi's in to the left-handed Morgan. Morgan waits, guides it straight to backward point. And there will be no run. So 84 for 3. Morgan on 9. Tripathi on 36 from 28. We will have a little run around. And I will
see you
later
in the second innings.
Yeah, Nestler's is going to take over.
All right. See you later, everyone.
Tweets.
Okay,
I'm going to sit here.
All right, Nestler, see you in a bit, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to sit here and do some summarising, and Al Hotch is going to take over ball by ball.
Thank you, Knuckle. Interesting contrasts and fortunes in the game so far. Like the positive intent of bringing Nareen in, but short-lived. Interesting to see the difference between the Jofra Archer 2 overs and the other 8.
Yeah, although Rahul Tewati has been good, 2 overs, 2 for 15, picking up Shubman Gill and Sunil Narayan, and as I say, beating them genuinely both in the flight.
Absolutely. And he'll continue with the 11th over, and that is back onto Tripathi's off stump. He rocks back in the crease, plays that to long on, and they'll jog through for a single.
Yeah, Tripathi's not really been able to get going at any point. He was 14 off 9, but then he's struggled since then.
It'll be interesting to see how Morgan looks to rotate the strike, maybe in these next couple of overs before setting himself in to do some real damage later on.
Yeah, Morgan's been a bright spot in the KKR batting, which hasn't really fired. It's been a poor year for both Dinesh Karthik and Andre Russell.
As Twatia comes in, and that's going to be a reverse sweep by Morgan, and that beats a short third man, but if there's a deep point who comes round, prevents the boundary, and so Morgan will move to 10. Josh Butler there with a rocket-like throw in from the boundary. It's going to be interesting if it is that Rajasthan, I think, win. That I think Delhi versus RCB is now starting to look more and more like a win and stay in, and lose and look on the outside of the playoffs. As that's a wider, slower delivery by Tuatia, which Tripathi can't break through the covers, and there'll be no run.
Yeah, obviously it's very much dependent on whether the Sunrisers beat Mumbai.
Yeah, I think that game is. I think that the Sunrisers game's the last game. I think
it is. We're doing that game as well here on Guerrilla Cricket.
Twatia is in again, and that is short and on Tripathi's leg stump, and he's able to hit that through to deep mid wicket, and there'll be a single, just 3 singles off the first 4 deliveries so far.
That game is probably more important than the game tomorrow, because if the Sunrisers lose, then it actually doesn't really matter who wins that RCB Delhi game. It just matters. It does matter in a sense that finishing second is a massive advantage over finishing third.
Interesting as well that there's absolutely no form in either of those two teams. They've both lost their last 3. Is that right?
Yeah, Delhi.
Butler goes off again.
Delhi've lost their last 4.
That's twice now that I've seen Butler come off the field to be substitute. And Morgan tries to come down the track to hit Twatia back over his head, but with an edge, it just dribbles into the covers, and there'll be no run. So I'm wondering whether there might be something wrong with Josh Butler if he's had to leave the field twice.
Yeah, David Miller's on as the sub fielder, who is not a bad man to have on as a sub fielder. Very good in the field.
Last ball of the over, flighted onto Morgan's leg stump, and he will play that to long on. Single taken, 4 off the over. KKR 88 for 3.
By the
Nestlers, what have we got, mate?
Sorry, just by the way, on Butler, he hurt his finger when he was taking the catch.
Leah, I don't know if this has been read out. Nareen once said, "Actually, I was named after you," in a reply to a remark from Gavaskar about Nareen's dad having a good taste in names.
Yeah, we did read that. That's very good.
I didn't know that. Apart from that, we're up to date. Let's have a quick look on Cricket Tracker India. Abhishek Basu says KKR should win. No comments on YouTube or our own Facebook page. Everyone's having a long dinner.
Yeah, a few people with us on Hot Mic. Warren says, Jofra, first person on your wish list if you're an IPL team owner?
He's one of the first few names up there.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly, he's, if you're looking for an overseas fast bowler, he's someone you'd want. I mean, Rajasthan got him when he was not unknown, but certainly less known than he is now. So they got him cheaper than they certainly would if he was coming back into an auction now. We do have a change of bowler.
Hey Shreyas Gopal's in. Hey Shreyas Gopal's on. Hey Shreyas Gopal. Bats and bowls.
Just the one over in the power play, which got carted around for, and Morgan has decided to employ the reverse sweep straight away to a ball that was going across him, but that is stopped by short third man, and there'll just be a single, moving KKR to 89 for 3. Morgan 12 not out off 9 deliveries. Tripathi 38 off 31, but maybe slowing down just a tad, depending on how, because he started with good intentions at the beginning of his innings. So we'll see how we're going along, and that's slightly short of a length. Nearly through Tripathi though. He inside edges that, and it's a short fine leg who will do the fielding. Gopal nearly saw his eyes light up there with nearly through Tripathi.
Yeah,
just brings the bat down just in the nick of time.
He gets most of his wickets with that googly Shreyas Gopal. But yeah, Tripathi has got stuck.
And that is back of a length again, and Tripathi tries to heave it through to the leg side, but ends up really playing it straight. And it's Smith long on who will do the fielding, and again will be restricted to a single.
The top order just hasn't really worked. I mean, Gill scored a lot of runs this season, relatively speaking, but he scored them quite slowly. And Rahul Tripathi has also been scoring relatively slowly. Nitish Rana has been bright but inconsistent.
Gopal in again, and wide of Morgan's off stump, and he pulls the ball down to a very wideish long on, and Ben Stokes with a howitzer of an arm nearly causes trouble, but there's 2 able to be taken. Gopal just seems to be bowling slightly too short, I think.
Well, I mean, he's bowling to just give away singles, which is fair enough. He was too full in his earlier spell, over. And there is a little bit of turn in the wicket if you bowl it into the pitch. He's bowling defensively, but it's fair enough.
Morgan will be facing the 5th ball of this over, and that is fired through like a medium pace delivery, but too wide, and is signalled as such by the umpire.
Like a medium pacer is right, that was actually seam up.
Morgan takes as a firm edge, and that is dropped just short of a short third man. Morgan initially went forward and then went back to try and cut a ball and took an edge, but it just drops agonisingly short, like we said, of that short third man, and they'll take a single. But Morgan looking to be able to try and move the score along, and it's just dropped in short there.
Aaron, I think,
did well to stop it, really, and I think Aaron in the end. It's interesting. You start off trying to catch the ball, and then halfway through, the intention is to get the ball away from you. That is pulled away, and that is the fielder running in and catching that ball, and Tripathi, I think, it's going to have to go. Last ball of the 12th over, and Tripathi has tried to hit the maximum, and all he's been able to do is to hit the batsman running in, and KKR are now 94 for 4.
Yeah, again, shorter and quicker into the body. Tripathi's struggled for fluency. He's struggled for sort of a clean bat swing, really, throughout. You can almost see he's trying to hit, not that he's trying to hit the ball too hard, but he's sort of finishing the bat swing too early, and he sort of chopped at that, and it was a pretty simple catch for Robin Uthappa at deep backward square leg. 39 off 34, having been 14 off 9. Things really didn't go anywhere. And probably it works slightly in KKR's favour that he's got out at that point, given that you've got Karthik and Russell now with some time to bat.
Given what we believe about Russell's lack of mobility, it's going to be Karthik who comes in next, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed.
Yeah.
The former captain. Interesting subplot to develop between those two.
Danish caretaker had some questions to ask when he found out DJ he was shagging his wife. Oh shit! Do not believe that the rumor is true. He was kept out of the team from jealousy. Not true.
Sorry, I've completely lost pitches.
Oh, right. Well, it was short from Rahul Tewatia, who's continuing bowling his last over, and I think he's bowling his four straight through. Owen Morgan pulled in through at backward square leg. There was swept really, and there was a desperate dive from the man coming around from deep mid wicket, but he was never going to get anywhere near it. 4 runs.
Tony Ogilvie, can you come on for me for a sec while I have to restart my computer?
While they're doing that, I'll finish off this over as this is tossed up from Rahul Tewatia, and Owen Morgan clips down 2 long on for 1.
Hello, I can fill in if you need me.
Yes, emergency relief, Grubby.
Yeah, I wasn't doing much anyway. Yeah.
Stroking your beard.
Yeah. There we go. Right.
Got you, loud and clear.
Jolly good, yeah. So, 99 for 4 is the score. Karthik has just come to the crease, hasn't faced the ball yet. Beautiful, even covering that beard, isn't it? It really is fantastic facial growth. He's going to face the first ball of his innings. Tewatia bowls it an inside edge, and he's been caught at short mid wicket by Steve Smith. It's another golden duck, the second one of this innings and the third duck in total, I think. And I think that was the wrong one that got him. Tewatia really has bowled exceptionally well, and he's got those excellent figures now of 3 for 24 or 3.5 overs. Well bowled, sir.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
Yeah, there's some considerations that dew is going to become a factor later in the innings, and so the spinners are trying to make hay while they can, and the ball is just sticking in the wicket a little bit. Karthik, I'm not really sure what sort of shot he was trying to play at it. It was a sort of defensive push from off stump, and incredibly well-timed inside edge, really, to Smith.
An indeterminate push, isn't it, into the offside? Yeah, well, it was weird. What I liked as well was seeing the replay. Tewatia, who had just bowled the delivery, and he saw where Dinesh Karthik was aiming it, sort of short extra cover, and he was herring across to try and do his own fielding. Meanwhile, he got an inside edge and was caught on the other side of the wicket. Now, here comes the big lad. How fit is he? We don't know, but we know he can hit the ball a long way, and it is going to be this lad.
If Andre Russell's in your hedgerow, to be alarmed now. He's just the DJ for the after show.
Taking guard now, he's got a shocking blue left trainer and a shocking yellow right trainer. Make of that what you will. But he's facing a man who is in form today. The man who's got 3 wickets, Rahul Tewatia, and has bowled really well. Jofra was obviously exceptional up top, but Tewatia has claims to be the leading bowler in this innings with those wickets. And he's fooled pretty much everyone he's bowled to one way or another, through flight and guile, and one's going the other way. So Kolkata Knight Riders, having weathered that early storm and done pretty well in the first power play, are now finding life much more difficult. 99 for 5, and Andre Russell's first ball, he very watchfully and respectfully defends from the crease back up the track. Not quite sure, I don't think, which way that one was going to go. And having seen how his erstwhile skipper got out, I'm not surprised. Here comes Tewatia again. He's got a slip in place now. This is dabbed by Andre Russell. It goes to the right, past the right hand of the man at slip. and has the man herring back from backward point, falling on his arse. And the upshot is 1 run. Good to see you, Nestlers. It's been a little while, isn't it? You're looking very well.
How are you?
All the better for seeing you, of course.
Oh.
But bearing up under the great strain that is my life.
Yeah.
All good, thanks, all good. So he's about to complete this excellent spell, Rahul Tewatia, 3 for 25. 1 ball left. Meanwhile, the score has gone to 100 for 5. So here he comes to complete his spell. Morgan defends it to backward point. There is no run, so he gets out of the over as well. 4 overs, 3 for 25. Excellent spell of leg spin bowling from Rahul Tewatia. And the score after 13 overs is 100 for 5. What have we got?
What amazing feats of muppetry do we expect in the second innings from Ian, says Leia. Gill to bowl the 19th, Russell to keep to save his hamstrings. Ravi says there's a story that needs to be told, and it's not just about Guyana, but Nareen, Chandapal and others, Karan, and I represent a team of Indian origin cricketers in the West Indies. Not just the cricket story, but the Indian story.
It's funny you should mention that. On our friend Mashel's Caribbean Cricket podcast, Bharat Sundaresan, who I think is an Indian of West Indian, I think has some connections to that part of the world, went on, he's one of Cricket Buzz's writers, he went on and talked about Indian origin communities, not just cricketers, but populations in Guyana and Trinidad in particular. So that story, has been told to some extent, and is an interesting one. A lot of their ancestors were brought over to the West Indies as indentured workers after the collapse of the transatlantic slave trade. And you get a lot of, and they're all from specific parts of India, which is why a lot of the names are very similar, and a lot of them have got the spelling has changed over time. That's where as far as I understand it, that's where the story of the West Indian populations of Indian descent begins. The Caribbean population.
Which parts of India?
Bihar,
predominantly.
I think mostly,
Bihar.
and southern India sometimes too, but mostly Bihar.
That sounds worth finding out about.
Leia wonders who manufactures those cool helmets that Karthik uses.
They do look quite cool, don't they? It looks like a sort of motorcycle stunt rider or something.
Yeah, sort of a mountain bike downhill racer.
Yeah, it's got that streamlined quality about it, hasn't it?
I'm sure you could buy one, Leia, if you hunted around. Don't know if I'd get it in gold, though.
I know that Tony's been doing a survey of each of the IPL franchises' respective websites on usability, customer experience and all that stuff. So whether you can buy that sort of merch from the KKR site, I don't know, but maybe that would be a place to start, Leia. Let us know how you get on. And then send us a photo when you've got it.
Send pictures, yeah. Grits and Grat says Marcus Rashford could earn his praise if he got every Man United player, every EPL footballer to donate a week's wages. Would have a significant impact. Also, Lewis Hamilton could donate a race fee, and Geldof and Bono could sell one of their holiday homes. What a difference that would make.
That's right. Let's fund services through charity rather than government. Come on.
I mean, a lot of these people you find out do things in private that they don't publicise, don't they?
Well, famously, George Michael.
Indeed. Yeah.
We all
Cristiano Ronaldo.
I'm sure Lewis Hamilton gives lots of money away.
Now we've got another leg spanner coming into the attack who went for a few earlier in the innings. He's coming back to bowl his third over. He's in to bowl to Dre Russ, who has a look at this one. I think for a second thought about winding up and crashing it over mid-wicket, but settles for a forward defensive, and there's no run.
Yeah, in fact, Gopal's continuing. He picked up Rahul Tripathi in his last over.
Beg your pardon. All right, well, he's continuing then. Here he comes again, bowling to Andre Russell, who this time does go for the big heave-ho, only gets an inside edge, and the ball rolls fairly harmlessly towards the square leg boundary, and 1 run happens. So Morgan's there, anchoring this middle part of this innings at the moment. He's got 20. Russell's just come to the crease, and he's got 2. He really is a unit, isn't he?
Big old boy.
Jofra smiling away on the boundary wherever he's fielding, and why not? He's He's in a very good groove at the moment, Jofra. Here comes Gopal. Fires this one across Morgan, who was aiming it square of the wicket on the offside and ends up flat batting it straight back past the bowler, dead straight, for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's a funny old shot that, because he went back, I'm convinced he was looking to cut that square, or square-ish, of the wicket on the offside, and almost like he was through the shot too quickly, but made a great connection, and almost like a tennis shot back past the bowler. This is aerially played. He's back in his crease for a couple of bounces. That is going to go to the extra cover boundary, so back-to-back 4s for Morgan.
Oh, Morgan's a master of making quite inelegant shots, or shots that would be inelegant in other people's hands, look very stylish.
Now, Al has mentioned something from the green room. That's not their job, I think, in response to someone who was suggesting that famous footballers might donate some money to feed our hungry kids.
Well,
does that mean that you are there in the room and willing to come back in, Al? This is picked up by Morgan, straight back over the bowler's head, straight back over Steve Smith's head on the long off boundary, straight into the sight screen for a big one of these.
I believe in miracles since you came to bat. You sexy thing, you sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles since you came out to bat. You sexy thing.
Odd day for Shreyas Gopal. It started badly, then became quite good in the middle, and is now becoming bad again.
Yeah, such is the roller coaster life of an IPL bowler. This is going to go for another big one, I suspect, as Morgan is back in his crease and swatting it high over wide long on. So back-to-back 4s followed by back-to-back 6s. Gee willikers.
2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row.
You see what I mean? Because that looked as though it was a top edge that had gone straight up in the air, but actually, because of the way his hands are so quick, his hands are so quick and his wrists are so good that he's just got under that enough to get it up and over long on, and he's hit that miles. You do see this a lot.
So he's got the makings now. If Morgan stays there, of a pretty decent score. It's 121 for 5 after 14. 6 more overs of Morgan and possibly Russell would see them up. Well, definitely 180, and possibly with pretensions of getting up to 200.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real ceiling on Dre Russ when he gets going. And Morgan's already 40 off 18, and I think this is a good
now
and
here's
necessary
the game
move.
then, because this fella's coming back into the attack.
Yeah, they didn't really have much choice, I don't think.
He will break your helmet, break your heart. Hotter than lava, cooler than Bogart. In your face, at your stumps.
Starts with the length ball to Dre Russ, who comes forward and again respectfully plays it defensively into the offside, and there's no run.
Yeah, I wonder if Jofra Archer will throw in a few short balls at Dre Russ early on. Put it this way, I don't think he'll be putting too many kind of on a drivable length.
No, that would be the wrong thing to do, wouldn't it? And he's doing the laces up on his yellow shoe. Is Dre Russ, who for some reason has odd shoes on. Sure, there's some sort of reason.
That became a thing in football for a little while. I can't remember which bootwear company it was, but they gave a bunch of players boots that were one blue and one pink. The FA Cup final that Arsenal won against Hull, almost all of the Arsenal players were wearing them.
Shake of the head from Nestler's there. The game's gone, he's thinking. This is, it's a genuine edge, I think, from Dre Russ, but it's just out of reach of the diving Samson, and it races away to the fine third-man boundary for 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's wrong with a pair of Adidas Beckenbauer Supers?
That reminds me of that joke about the tramp who
each.
has one L on R on his footwear, so he can tell left from right, and then the Essex girl said, that's why my pants say C and A then. Anyway, Jofra is going to continue to Dre Russ, who has 6 runs, 4 of them fairly streaky the previous ball, and this one is swiped away by Dre. That's the Dre Russ we know and love, just bit of a chance on that one. Didn't completely time it, I don't think, but he's got enough that it goes over the mid-wicket boundary for a 6.
I think he premeditated the short ball. The angry in response short ball, which wasn't quite angry enough.
I think he's got to do that thing that he does so well usually, Jofra, which is to angle it into the body and really cramp the batsman for room. And I don't think, even at his fittest, Andre Russell would find that easy to cope with. And if he is carrying a bit of an injury still, then it's going to be doubly difficult.
The next one might be a wide Yorker.
Let's have a look. He's into the crease now. No, it's another short ball, and he's up on his toes playing that one. Russell, he doesn't look particularly comfortable as he sort of limps through for a single. But job done for him in this over, really. He's got the 4, which is a bit streaky. Follow that up with the 6 over mid-wicket, which he definitely didn't time. The bat twisted in his hand. You saw that in the replay. But he's such a powerful man that it was enough. And now he's up the other end, so yeah, 11 runs, job done, up the other end. Thanks for coming. Morgan will have to face the last 2 balls, possibly, of Archer's 3rd over, having his figures ruined a little bit. A slower ball in at the legs of Morgan. Dre Russ is halfway down the pitch, backing up there, but Morgan sends him back. And that is like the Titanic turning around, let me tell you. But there's no run. 1 ball left of the 15th over, 1-3-2 for 5.
Good intent though from Andre Russell.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell, when he's fit, which is not often really these days that fully fit, is a very athletic man.
Yeah, he's looking a bit laboured today though, so perhaps he is still feeling the effects of the injury that he had a couple of weeks back. Here comes Jofra to finish the over. Shorter delivery and a bit slower as well, and Morgan's through the shot. Flummoxed him there, so a good finish to that over from Jofra, having gone for a bit of tap early on at the hands of Dre Russ. 132 for 5 after 15. I'm going to retreat back into the shadows, I think.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is, I was supposed to be doing this ball by ball, but Al ended up missing most of his ball by ball stint. So we'll let Al see us home in the company of Tony and Nestlers.
Hello.
Okay, I'll read you through a couple of tweets while you're fiddling around. Andy Ward, our own Andy Ward, says, don't start that. Governments already have 50% of top sportsmen's wages every week. It's about how they use it. Wobble Team, El Chopanos says, most folks of Indian origin in the Caribbean are from UP. Bihar, Andhra, Tamil Nadu. Excuse me if I've got those wrong. TNT and Guyana have the biggest numbers. We were discussing Indian players of origin in the West Indies.
Oh, right. Looks like Al has found us.
Are you there, Al?
I am. Okay. Sorry about that.
Are you ready to rock and roll?
It all got a bit glitchy and I was missing balls. It's going to be Tiagi to bowl the 16th over, and Andre Russell has decided to try and kill someone in the crowd as he smashes that ball over long on. A very flat, a very hard, and a very distant 6.
You won't believe the things he's saying. He even wanted to meet the queen. All that etiquette went over his head, so he ended up playing cricket instead.
To borrow from the film Bull Durham, anything that flies that far should have a stewardess on it. As Tiagi comes in, and that is again in the slot, and Russell has again tried to hit that hard, and it's gone over long off this time. The despairing leap of Stokes is not enough, and we'll have that 6 jingle one more time.
Smack it in the air. Smack it in the air. Legs moving side to side. Smack it in the air. Smack it in the air.
Smaximum.
No.
2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row.
129 career IPL 6s now for Andre Russell. Not obviously in this one IPL, but not a bad return.
It's a shame, really. If his body was a little bit more reliable, you look at what could have been with all of this potential.
I say much the same about myself.
Tiagi's in, and that is in the slot outside off stump, and it is out.
Dear. I've done it again. Between us, we've done it again, Al.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Bring us in. We'll stop anything. Russell has carved this ball square, and it looked at all points that it was going to be a one bounce for, but came into shot the figure of Ben Stokes, who I misrepresented as Stephen Smith. Oh, sorry, it's not Stokes. It's Miller. David Miller. Subbing, I believe, for Butler still, and it's gone straight down his throat.
You two ruin all our fun.
Yeah, well, you know. What do you want?
Well, the fun we ruined earlier was only going to be a maiden over.
Bill?
As Russell nearly trips over the boundary sponge on his way in. And it's going to be Australian tall fast bowling who's going to come in and replace Russell. It's going to be this
When Bancroft scuffed it and threw you the ball, you must have known but said nothing at all. Yeah, they were tampering. What'd you do, Cummins, when they were tampering? Yeah, you knew, Cummins.
At Cummins is our new batsman. Tiagi, full length ball just outside of stump, and Cummins pushes that ball through to the covers. It'll be Miller who comes in, and as Knackle pointed out earlier in the innings, not a bad replacement at all to be bringing into the field. And you just wonder whether all the fireworks may well have gone out. But while there's Morgan, there's hope, I guess, for KKR.
Cummins can hit a ball.
Oh, he can indeed, and he's been called upon a few times so to do, hasn't he, this IPL?
He's not. I know he's not his thing, but he can.
He's no mug.
He's no mug with a bat, is he?
He's not. He's got a lovely touch for a big man.
Great round the greens.
Tiagi into Morgan, and that is on his leg stump. And Morgan misses out, and it hits him on the pad. And Tiagi will run forward, and a welcome dot ball for the young fast bowler.
At the end of this over, Nestlers, can I borrow 30 seconds to talk about something before you go launch into tweets?
Do what you want, mate.
Well,
song and dance
doesn't stop you normally.
Wow.
I like to let people know that was my plan.
No, you fire away because I've got no tweets to read out at the moment.
Oh, dear. Okay.
What?
Right. Let's deal with this last ball of the 16th over as quickly as we can. On Morgan's pads again. Again, he misses out and looks to the heavens as he runs through for a leg by as that ball squirts to point. Tony, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention our partnership with the Sussex Cricket Foundation. 1.7 million UK children live in some form of food poverty, households that don't have enough access to enough money to create proper nutritious meals. Don't believe me, those figures come from the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health Statistics. Fantastic work. We've all heard about it from Marcus Rashford. We've joined his party. We want to help as well. We've got together with Sussex Cricket Foundation, and we have an appeal called In the Bag. Please go to our Twitter feed. You'll find it's our pinned tweet, or go to Just Giving and just Google or just search Gorilla Cricket In the Bag, and we are raising money, and we want to get 1,000 bags of food out over the winter to children around the Sussex area. Already some wonderful people have helped, and I will name check them if I have time.
While you're doing that, Ben Stokes is bowling the next over. He has bowled his first ball to Morgan, and it's gone back to the batsman. The second ball of the over is a slower bouncer, which Morgan misses and goes through to the keeper, Tony.
Oh, I was just going to say, Mark and Jules, Hugh Taylor, Messers, and some 4 anonymous but nonetheless incredibly welcome donations have already helped. Some of the things that your money does, every £3.50 buys a bag of food. Do you want to smash or wait?
Stokes with a ball outside of Morgan's stump, off stump, a swing and a miss and through to the wicketkeeper, and there is no run.
Want to help smash child hunger for £6? £21 delivers 6 food bags. If you want to go the full Sobers treatment, £126 delivers 36 ready-made food bags, guaranteed to get to the families that most need them. So please help if you can.
Morgan goes across his stumps and Stokes fields off his own ball and tries to throw at the stumps. Morgan would have been in trouble and Stokes is left straight on the ground, but Morgan is through for a single and KKR are 147 for 6. Sorry to interject with the cricket whilst we're talking about such a worthy subject.
That's all right. I've done it. I've done my bit now. For now, I'm sure we will be mentioning it again.
Yes, we should. 1.7 million and their children. Hopefully this lockdown will mean that we can all get back to doing a little bit more for each other.
What a sorry state this country's in that we have to do that, something like that.
Yeah.
It's disgraceful, really. But anyway, it's a good cause, so give us
It's
your
the
money.
best. It's the best of causes. The best.
Bob Geldof, give us your fucking money.
I don't like Mondays.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is on Cummings' pads from Stokes, and it dribbles out to square leg, and there will be a leg by taken. Stokes has got figures for 0 for 12 off 1.5 overs.
Talking about money, Twarong tells us the helmet that Leia was interested in, the KKR Transformers helmet with a titanium grille, cost £320.
Whoa. That would probably put us in the region of like 180 meals.
No, you can't.
Last ball of the over, back of a length, cut by Morgan behind square, and Miller can do nothing to be able to cut this off, and that's a 4 for Captain Morgan.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Stokes looked like he was about to explode then.
He's going to go full Hulk mode, wasn't he?
Yeah. You should know by now how good Morgan is, Ben.
Yeah, it's always. I think it's one of the the dynamic of players who we're so used to seeing playing on the same side, playing against each other, is always interesting to me.
I always find it fascinating.
Well, when you get someone like a fast bowler like Archer bowling to Morgan, his captain, you think, are you going to take his head off with this one? Nah, probably not.
So Twatia has come off the field, looking for some assistance with his hand, and it's going to be Jofra Archer who's going to bowl over number 18. One more over of Archer to go as Miller comes off the field, just to make sure. I think Steve Smith's just pointing at people, making sure he's got the right number of the right number of fielders.
Didn't do that taking that catch, did he?
In your face, at your stumps, on your toes, on your mum.
Archer in and just misses Cummings is off stump. Cummings had backed away to the leg side and then Archer had bowled a Yorker length delivery that was a gnat's crotchet away from ripping Cummings' off stump out of the ground. So very close that, Tony, wasn't it?
It was. I was just looking at the par score again of 170 something.
Archer in again, and that's driven down the ground by Cummings. Will there be anyone to be able to cut that off? No. Oh, yes, there will. Ben Stokes appears like Superman. He throws the ball to Steve Smith, and there is 2 taken off that delivery.
Having found out the price of the helmet, Leia says she's going to make do with her gun and more for the time being, but is wondering whether she can find a leopard print cover for it.
I'm sure Good and more, I'm sure will do anything for you.
I'm not sure about that. Did well there, Ben Stokes, didn't he?
He did. He came out of nowhere. I was all set to talk about straight drives for 4.
Though we're having a 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th look at this.
Back and to the
left. He slid in. Did he have part of his body? I think he's got away with it and he's okay.
I think he's done all right there, but surprising agility. He's done well. It's the presence of mind to hit it straight to Smith as well with the deflection.
Indeed, not a 4.
And that is on Cummings' pads. It's gone high in the air to the leg side. Is there a person underneath it? No, there isn't. The ball just plugs in the ground. There is an angry throw from deep square leg. But there'll be another 2 taken, and Cummings lives to fight another day. You could tell it went very high, but it didn't have the distance to go all the way for 6.
Yeah,
it was just like, is there
wedge, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's gone a long way in the air. Archer in again, and that is again right on Cummings' off stump. A flail towards mid-off, and he would have been gone for all money, I think, if Smith had hit the stumps. But Smith misses, and Cummings moves on to 6-5 off the over so far. And just 2 balls of Archer's 4 left to go. 1 for 19. He really has been the brightest of bright spots for Rajasthan so far this season. Gone for all money. Out by a yard, and Smith knows it too. With Morgan facing the next delivery, Smith has retreated back to the boundary. Archer comes around the wicket and bowls, and that is hit Morgan on the pad. Would have been going down leg side, I think, but they've squirted through to point, and there'll be one leg by, I think.
I think he did have a polite inquiry.
Yeah, there was a half strangled appeal. We are focusing on Steve Smith because he's the captain, but it did seem to be going down leg, didn't it, really?
Well, I think possibly height as well. But yes, no, not
we
height,
can see,
but definitely down leg.
We can see all 3 stumps to the left of Morgan's leg. So
if you're a KKR batsman, you're just going to look at the positive side and go, right, one more ball of Joffrey.
One more ball. Survive. And it's Cummings who's got to survive, and Archer nearly cleans his head off. Cummings does a half backward roll by way of gentle evasion. Quite right. Who wants to be a hero at this stage of the innings? Jofra Archer, take a bow. 4 nasty, quick, direct, probing overs. Probably bowled better than his figures suggest, really. 1 for 18, I think it was, after 4 overs. And you can see that Morgan and Cummings are going, okay, breathe. Right. These next 2 overs aren't going to be nearly as scary. Who will bowl that 19th over? It's going to be Ben Stokes who's going to bowl the 19th over. 1 for 19. And as Natal said, a 6 and a 4 came off Dre Russell, which means not much off the rest. Over 19, Stokes into bowl to Morgan, and that is attempted to be cut away, but it's only been cut to cover. And it's dribbled to them in such a way that Morgan and Cummings are able to go through for a single, and that will bring Cummings on to strike.
Barong bigging up Zimbabwe for making the trip to Pakistan. Sadly, they got beaten quite easily today. They were the last team to play in Bangladesh. Watched them in Sylhet and Mirpur in Dakar. So yes.
Anyone that's prepared to travel and do that at that stage, being bubbles and the like, has always got credit. And that's a slower ball, but it's a full length, and Cummings has hit that about 30 feet over the boundary rope over long off, and that's another 6 runs. Courtesy of Pat Cummins.
The number of the day really hops and kicks. The number of the day is 6.
So with a first innings pass score of 170.130, they are on target to get themselves past that, aren't they?
A little bit. But then again, when we saw Rajasthan last week, it's again full length delivery, which Cummings plays into the ground, and it balloons high into the air, and by the time that extra covers come round to mid-off in order to be able to catch that ball on the bounce, Cummings and Morgan are already safely through for a single. We thought Rajasthan were dead for all money, wasn't it, when we saw that they were having to chase down 180, 190 against Mumbai, and that Morgan's come down the track, and that's gone again right over Steve Smith's head. You'd have to be about 12 feet tall to be able to try and catch that, but that's another 6 to Captain Morgan.
Hey, champ, give me any lift.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job has only just begun.
Slower ball right in Morgan's slot, and that's gone high into the night, and that's going to be another 6 runs. And there's nothing that Stokes can do apart from regret certain life choices and to go back and try and bowl a better ball next time. 1 ball left of his over, but 6 runs for Morgan. He moves on to 58.
2 6s in a row, 2 6s in a row, 2 6s in a row.
Morgan can't quite do the full Braithwaite, but he can get pretty close. And that's short of a length, and Morgan's cut that. There's a short third man, there's a backward point, but there's a gap between them, and Morgan's found it, and that's gone rocketing away like a tracer bullet for 4 runs.
1 2 ka 4, 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
We've got afternoon, gents, from Stephen Kelk on YouTube. Afternoon, Stephen.
Afternoon, Stephen. 1 over left to go in the books. What, 82 for 6? Sorry, Nestler's talked over you there.
Just saying that Leah says, I'm a bit miffed the Bangladesh team chose to go with boring green helmets and caps in tests instead of tiger stripes.
Well, you know, sartorial elegance and all that. Who's going to bowl the 20th over? There's not really enough. Steve Smith was looking right. It's going to be Tyagi who's going to bowl the 20th over. Figures of 1 for 27 after 3 overs, and that's in the slot for Cummings, and he drives the ball straight past him. But Stokes will come round from long on, prevent the fall. Good throw back to the keeper, but 2 runs able to be taken. KKR 184 for 6. And if they play their cards right, 195 definitely in play, maybe 200.
Gotta go big. You got to go big.
So, over under 194.5. Nestle, what do you reckon?
Ooh. Under.
So Tyagi in for the second ball of the over, and that is a swing and a... Well, I was going to say swing and a miss, but I think that might be a swing and an edge.
He's out.
Cummings is caught behind.
It's Morgan. Oh no, it's not. It's Cummings. You're right.
Cummings caught behind. Tyagi has a second wicket, 2 for 29. And that following Nestler's advice, he did go hard at it, but all he's managed to do is to be able to edge the ball to the keeper. And KKR are 7 down.
Very well taken by Sampson as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Diving to his right, did a fine job. Not a bad effort from Patrick Cummins, to be fair. 15 off 11. He's kept his skipper company and kept the scoreboard ticking at the same time. So he'd be happy enough with his batting day's work. He's going to certainly have to do some work in the bowling department. So old friend Tamagotchi.
Nagakoti, who will be the new batsman.
Yeah, Cummings just needed to move his feet a little bit there.
Yeah, it was full and it was wide, and it would have seemed like it was in the slot, but a little half step forward, and such fine margins. Tyagi in, and that is a full toss on off stump, and Nagakoti plays this to deep mid wicket. And let's see if that was just a single, bringing Morgan onto the strike, in which case, well done, sir, you've done your job, bringing the established batsman back to the crease.
Come on now, sometimes you have to embrace your inner Peggy Bundy, says Leia.
Do I though? Really? Do I though? In it though? In it though?
According to Leia,
do I though?
You do.
Do I though?
Who is Peggy Bundy?
I have no idea.
I
think it's from Married with Children, I think. Tiagi in fourth ball of this last over, and it's flayed away by Morgan, but only to Stokes. Long off. And they've refused the run.
Not Ted Bundy's mum.
No, that's what I was about to say.
Not quite. So, a dot ball from that fourth ball of the over. Morgan's decided to stand his ground, see what he can do with the last two balls. Always an interesting strategy.
Oh, she's the wife and mother on Married with Children, as portrayed by Katie Sagal.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fifth ball of this last over. Tiagi, and that's down the leg side. Would have been a wide if Morgan had left it, but he sweeps it to deep backward point. And again, there is no run as Morgan decides to stay where he is.
Okay.
A hint of Doneyism.
Oh.
No, but I mean, to be honest, given that
Donny.
Navacotti is just faced one ball at the big, in the midst of this 20th over, I can see where the mindset comes from. But
Well, he better hit it into the stands then.
yeah, this one's got to go at least for 4 in order to kind of gain some aspect of victory in this strategy. Last ball of the innings, and that is on middle stump, and Morgan turns round and asks, is that far enough into the stands for Nestle Boy? 6 off the last ball, 68 for Morgan, 191 for 7 is the final total for KKR.
He obviously heard me.
Obviously heard you, mate. 6.
Big finish that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna stand there and back yourself by going, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna run off these last 2 deliveries. But then again, if you were to turn around to Tiagi and go 6 off the last 3 balls of your over, you'd probably take that. He's finished with figures of 2 for 36. Now, 191 for 7. Do we think chaseable target?
Well, yes, chaseable. I can tell you the highest outright successful run chase was 181 without loss, which was the Chennai Super Kings against Kings 11 Punjab. There were, of course, 3 super over games, during one of which RCB got 201 for 3. So it's at that upper end of totals,
I think,
but it's
given
achievable.
the fact that Rajasthan probably needed to increase their run rate by winning the game, I think they might well have bowled themselves out of a top 4 spot, even if they win.
Explain that one. That's an interesting piece of science.
So Rajasthan's run rate was worse than Knights 11. It was worse than Delhi and RCB. It was certainly worse than Sunrisers Hyderabad. So even with the 2 points that you gain for a win, I think they might get lost in the shuffle down to 5th place, if it is that they do win the game. But
because they conceded too many runs.
Because they're going to have to knock the runs off in such a fashion in order to be able to gain on run rate. So
hold on, they're going to need to chase the runs down in an artificially fast time.
Yeah.
Thus exposing them to lose more wickets.
Quickly. Yeah.
So it makes it more challenging. A 20 over win off the last ball is not necessarily going to do it for them. Wow. Now that is a permutation of science. Interesting indeed. Anyway, what are we doing at the break? Oh, producer. Wise producer.
Oh, twiddler of the knobs.
Twiddler of the knobs and stroker of the man bun. What is our solution for the
Devon Malcolm chat?
Devon Malcolm chat.
Perfect.
So we will. Are we going to go to that right now? Yes, we are.
Yep.
So we will take our leave for about 10 minutes or so, but stay tuned for more fascinating chat from Devon Malcolm, and then see if Rajasthan can knock these runs off in the time in order to push them into the top 4. But we will see you after the break.
See you
But
later.
the credit should go to that Derbyshire coach that signed you up straight away and got you in. Was that Phil Russell? Who was that?
Phil
been?
Russell, yeah, it was Phil Russell. Phil Russell was the one that said, boy, you've got some pace. Yeah, I haven't got a clue where it's going at the moment, but as I said, I was pretty young. But he said, you know what? If you can get 3 or 4 balls where you want it, you're going to play international cricket. I said, really, sir? And he said, oh, yeah. I said, you've got something special. You've got pace of fire. So I worked on it. It sowed the seed way back in 1984. And, I went on and ended up taking over 1,000 first-class wickets. So when I first started, not a lot of people would even expect me to do that. But, it was a learning process, and I love the game.
Did you complete your studies at Richmond College?
I went to Richmond College, yes. I did well at Richmond College. Next, I went to Derby. Obviously, when I signed up at Derby, next I went to Kedleston Road. You didn't know it, Derby University, but I was there. It was a further education college. Then I went on there, did business administration there, and they've got university status. But I must admit, I ended up there as well. Later on, when my England career started flourishing, I was awarded a honorary degree, from the college as well, from Derby University as well. But yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah,
Dr. Malcolm. So that Derbyshire team, Dr. Malcolm, Dr. Devon. So that Derbyshire team you played in, if I remember right, had a lot of good quick bowlers in it, didn't it? Just talk us through some of your contemporaries in that Derbyshire side.
Oh dear, and you know what? You mentioned, I mentioned how I started in first-class cricket. One of my schoolboy heroes, when I got in the side in 1984, was Michael Holding, was the overseas player there, and he had a bit of a knee problem. So Derbyshire saw it and them said, okay, at that stage I wasn't going to be signing an overseas player because, as you know, I was born in Jamaica, so I was classed as an overseas player then, although we're living in Sheffield. Came over as a student.
It took you longer to qualify than Jofra Archer, I believe.
Oh yeah, long time. About 10 years. long time. It wasn't like no. So Michael Holding was there, so I joined up with Michael in 1980. The following year, 85, Michael, and he was such a great teacher. He wasn't one of those guys who probably drag you to the nets and tell you to change this, do that. But his experience, he just watched you bowl, and obviously with the Jamaican background as well. Even if Michael Holding see me bowling and he spotted something, he don't have to say a word. He just hits his teeth, and I know exactly what he's on about. You understand? So we understand the language, and he helped me tremendously in fast-tracking me up to first-class cricket and very quickly into international cricket. Yeah, and you got guys like I said, Derbyshire had a battery of fast bowlers, actually. Later on had Ian Bishop, the young fast Ian Bishop from the West Indies. He joined there. You had guys like Will Mortensen. He was, Big Dane. You didn't realize
Big Dane.
He was a fantastic line and length bowler. You just couldn't get him away. But the way cricket moves on these days, I'm thinking, would all be able to bowl those immaculate line and lengths that used to bowl then in these one-day games nowadays, because these guys will be charging him and slog sweeping and all that business. But yeah, we had some seriously quick bowlers at Derbyshire then to choose from.
Yeah, that was quite a team. And now Hendo will know a lot more about your international career. But obviously, you had five wicket hauls, 128 wickets in 40 Test matches, and I have a feeling from your email address that I know what the highlight is going to be.
Yes, you know what? We're talking
9-4-57. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you're right. You got that. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah. But I mean, that's what it is. When you talk about Test cricket, I made my debut against Australia, the mighty Australians, in 1989 at Trent Bridge. I don't want to tell you what my test bowling, my maiden test average was, what it was, but it was quite an introduction to international cricket. You understand? But it took me my third new ball before I got my first wicket in Test cricket. But I had a good scalp in Stephen Moore, and that was the start. I thought, okay, way back then in the 90s, how fickle the selectors were.
Yeah.
But I was lucky. There was a tour leading up in 1989-90 to the Caribbean, and obviously I was selected for that. So I had a good tour in the Caribbean. Back to Jamaica for the first time since I left as a youth. Actually, the first Test match was
at Sabina Park in Kingston. And you remember I mentioned a while ago who actually launched my first class career. But if anything, as I said, I went to the Caribbean with not a lot of wickets, being smacked around the park by the Australians, you know. My first test match there back in Jamaica, back to the land of my birth, as I said, I managed to get the great Viv Richards out in the first innings. I had him out LBW. And not only that, the start of the test match, I remember the West Indies batted first, and they had a brilliant start actually. And I managed to run Gordon Greenidge out. And that started the kind of collapse for West Indies. And following from that, I clean ball. As no, I had Viv Richards out LBW in the first innings. As a matter of fact, the umpire who gave him out LB, I don't believe he ever umpired since. You know, nobody saw it. They were so upset. And the second innings, I had Viv Richards out as well. I yorked him in the second innings, which set up a great platform, and we actually won that test match in Jamaica. I reckon that was the first test match in Jamaica in about 35 years, could be actually, if I'm not wrong.
Because yes, I was going to say, your contests with Viv are quite famous, aren't they? This must be one of your lunchtime anecdotes. It's got to be.
Yes, so I mean that was quite a battle, and as I said, you know, getting Viv Richards out both innings in Jamaica, that actually really put me a big launching pad to my international career. So you know, obviously Viv Richards was getting towards three-quarter end of his career. He was still a fierce batsman, very proud guy, still didn't wear a helmet, and he will take you on, you see. But we had a great battle, and you know, that series went very well for me in the Caribbean. And obviously, you know, coming back and you know, obviously I was very fit and all that business. But as I said, in the 90s, the selectors were very fitter in a way. Yeah. So 1 minute you're in, 1 minute you're out. It's not like now where you see these guys getting out there being rotated, and they've got central contracts. They're just concentrated and playing for England. It wasn't like that, you know, in my days, in our days. You understand? You know, you don't know, because I mean, when I played, your county used to own you, not the England side. So the England selectors will give you an invitation if you want to play for England, if you said yes. And that's it. So the selectors were very, you know, consistent. So regarding confidence-wise playing for England, you were all over the place. Because 1 minute you're in, 1 minute you're out. So it was very difficult. But, you know...
Not helped by some of the team management. Ray Illingworth in particular is famous for you know, getting your name wrong and not encouraging you or supporting you.
No, regarding the name wrong, actually, was when I was first selected for my debut. It was Ted Dexter, but he's a wonderful man.
Oh,
you know,
Ted,
it was one of those things. He called me Malcolm Devon instead of Devon Malcolm. But as I said, you know, he's absolutely Lord Ted, fantastic guy. You know, I love Lord Ted to bits. But it's one of those things. Again, say way back in the 80s, 90s. Chairman of selectors and all those guys, it was just a voluntary role. It's not like now a payroll. So these guys get in there and, you know, somebody give them a team and they're gonna announce stuff. So I don't believe he was, you know, 100% know who I was in a way. I like nowadays selectors, they do travel around, they meet players, they see players play, but you know, it was just collectively, because it wasn't a professional job.
But Devon, how about Ray Illingworth? Did Ray Illingworth give you enough support and encouragement?
Never. He was, I mean, that's something I just don't want to get too deep into. He was very, very old school, and the coaches he had on board were very, very old school. And what I say as a coach and as a coaching team is bowling coach, batting coach, really, I reckon they disarmed me as a player, and also disarm my captain, Michael Appleton, then in a way, because I mean the disrespect and, you know, a lot of things they normally talk about how they used to do things in their days, and that was just decades and decades ago. Things had moved on so far ahead. So these guys were miles out of their depth really. So that was always going to cause a bit of problem, you know, with the way they speak to players, and you know, they were just so miles behind. So it was always going to cause a bit of problem, their management skill. those type of skill and not getting players or captains or people involved. They just wanted to dictate. It was never going to work. So it just the way his management skill was, as I said, not very good. You not only from yourself, you hear that from right across the board. But we had some. It's been well documented. We had some terrible times, especially in my first tour to South Africa. After my great performance in 1994. But as I said, it's best to talk about positive things than the lowest point in my international cricket career, so to speak. You understand? So, yeah.
No, indeed. I mean, it's you studied management. You studied management at Richmond College, and now you're the doctor of management, so you know all about Ray Illingworth's management failings. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was. It was very, very difficult, man. As I said, that tour in South Africa, even on the tour, I've seen certain incident that happened during his term as management. You understand that? I thought, look, a manager would have a broader view of doing.
We are back for this run chase. Rajasthan Royals require 192 off their 20 overs to give themselves an outside squeak of getting into the top 4, and I think it might have to be chased pretty quickly. I'm not sure exactly how quickly, but Stokes and Uthappa will be opening, I think, for the Royals. And here comes some jingles.
The runs are low, confident shot. We can't wait another minute for Robin Uthappa. I got out Ben Stokes, and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean. And he called me up, said he'd punch my said I made him. The young looked up and said, "You angry redhead, you'll get fined again."
After all these years, I still find that quite amusing. That Ben Stokes jingle still makes me titter. And we do have the unedited version, but actually I find the one with the bleeps in it to be even funnier. Right, who's going to be opening the bowling? It's going to be this pace man.
When bankrupt scuffed it and threw you the ball, you must have known but said nothing at all. Yeah, they were tampering. What you do comments when they were
Right, in the hope that my machine is working, I'm going to tell you that the first ball has been clipped over backward square leg by Robin Uthappa all the way for 6. Wow.
2, 4, 6.
Well, I can tell you, we could all tell you because it's been fed to us by the green room, but for Rajasthan Royals to go past ICB and Delhi on net run rate, they need to win inside 13.4 overs. For the Knight Riders to go past ICB and Delhi on net run rate, they need to bowl the Royals out for 110 or less. Big ask in both cases, I think.
Cummins follows that ball that was hit for 6 with a terrible wide.
And then, of course, they both need the Sunrisers to lose in their final group game.
Wide.
Yeah, I might be having some technical issues at my end.
Are you having technical issues, mate?
Do you want to pick it up, Al?
Can do if you want me to.
I can do tweets for you while.
If you want me to.
Yeah, I can do. I can.
Cummings in around the wicket, and Stokes gets right behind it and blocks it straight back to Cummings, and there'll be no run. Turns out it's catching whatever I had in the first innings. Grubby's got now. I feel terrible.
Yeah, all the way from the Wirral to Wimbledon.
Yeah, I feel like
sorry, it's a tooting.
Super spreader.
Lord. Let's see. Let's see, where did we get to? Jay Grover is with us, I can tell you that. Oh no, Watson has just received the curse of knackle. He's going to end up as the real QA non-something now.
So let's see what Cummings does with the third ball of this first over. That is wide of a length, and Stokes has hit that, inside edged it, but gone flying past a short, fine leg, and that's gone for 4 runs.
So you'd assume they go into this knowing those permutations have been worked out for them, and the team and the players know what they've got to do, right?
I'd imagine so. I mean, to be honest though, I think really at this first point it's win the game, isn't it really? And that's an attempted ramp by Stokes, and that has gone high, and it's gone for 6 runs.
I believe in miracles. Since you came to bat, you sexy thing, you sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles. Since you came out to bat, you sexy thing.
It's as you were then. Grubby's back. Al's on
back.
tweets.
Yeah.
And I'll just chip in as and when I can be expert about anything.
Grubby, it turns out Ben Stokes can play a ramp shot. I never knew he could do that.
Yeah, well, 18 runs off the first 4 balls. This is quite some start. Here comes Cummins again. Bowl me another, says Stokes. He does indeed. It's across him, and he steers it to wide mid-off, and they come through for a sedate single. Wow. Fireworks from the off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 19 off 5 balls. Not bad.
But 13, let's have a look at what. 13.4 overs is the target. 13.4 overs, and what do they need? They need 192 to win, don't they?
192.
Yeah, so.
Well, they've knocked a tenth of it off in double quick time. Utapa is going to face that final ball. He currently has a strike rate of 600. Always nice to see.
He even got a. You should just want to retire after 6 and I'm gonna have to come off.
Yeah,
that does mean they've got to go at 14.3 and over though. From the off.
He faces up to Cummins now. Plays a very similar shot to the first one, but he might be his undoing. It is his undoing. Sam races him from the square leg boundary, and he perishes. First ball he got 6. Second ball tried a similar shot, caught. 19 for 1 after 1.
Well, 6 and out. That's got to be the way forward, hasn't it? Really, because
yeah, it's those when you add in those extra permutations that you get at the sharpest to sharp ends of a very tight table, then it looks a different equation, different game, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does.
Because that's over 14 and over from the off if they were to achieve that and win inside the requisite time.
But that's really about trying to make sure that they secure their place by turning around and doing the things with run rate. But like we said, the thing that comes out of your control is it, if
what the other teams do.
If it can be done without Hyderabad having to, it takes sort of their game almost out of the equation.
You don't fail to qualify just because of what you did today. You failed to qualify from 13 other games.
True, but because this is at the decision-making end. There's naturally an emphasis by which you think that this result counts for more. It's why we often talk about referees swallowing their whistles late on in games. How can you decide the game when actually there's been 90 minutes before that, or 5 days before that, or 4 quarters before that? So it's just a natural part of the way that we perceive and assign value towards certain outcomes. I'm saying all of that because I can't see any tweets for us to read out, apart from Messy Jez, who gives a special shout out to @Mrs. Shandy for her 50 quid donation to our It's in the Bag campaign. Thank you so much for your generous donation. Any donation, doesn't matter how big, how small, goes an awful long way to a fabulous cause. Our pinned tweet on our Gorilla Cricket feed will give you more details about how we're teaming up with Sussex in order to be able to do our part as part of a wider nationwide campaign. Hi, Grubby.
I think he's frozen again. Back to where we were.
Okay, so the second over is, let me see, the first ball of that over was just played straight down the ground by Stokes, but it went to mid-off and there was no run. I will give Knackle a chance to jingle up our new bowler and also our new batsman.
Like Shiva Marvy's bowling.
IDL jingle should be quick. Inevitable. You know Steve Smith's inevitable. He treats the fielders like they're not really there. Hits the ball in the air across the boundary line. He ain't going nowhere.
So it is Mavi who's bowling. Dot balled off that first ball of his of this over. Stokes facing 11 off 5, and Stokes comes down the ground and hits the ball too straight, and it hits Smith's off stump, or the non-striker's end off stump, and prevents 4 certain runs, which might be a way of knowing that the world hates you, Tony. I think more than anything else. What do you think?
Indeed.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, too straight.
Dr.
Nearly
Dan
managed
in
to
the
get to-
meantime has
just
sent
nearly to
a
get to-
wonderful portrait of Jofra in his new medium of colour.
And that is a bouncer by Mavi, and that has been deemed to be too high, and that's going to be a no ball and free hit. Or is that just no? It's a wide. Sorry, it's a wide, not a no ball. My mistake. It's a wide on height. Sorry about that. Nearly gave Ben Stokes a free hit he didn't deserve. But the score is 20 for 1 after 8 legitimate deliveries. All action, all at the start of the second innings.
A lot of people joining us on Crit Tracker.
Oh, good.
Try and name check a few in a moment.
I will do the commentary as quickly as possible. And that is just into Stokes' hip. A leading edge, and Mavi nearly takes a caught and bowled chance. But it drops in front of him and there is no run. Tony, do you want to...
Abhishek Basu saying KKR should win. Muhammad Al says hi. Manju Seth is going for KKR as well. So got those in there. I can also tell you Farong is saying under 82 balls is the magic calculation for the Rajasthan Royals. Thanks for the calculations.
That's what we're here for. Mavi in for the 4th ball of this over, and that is on Stokes' legs, and he really should be whipping that through the leg side. It is gone through to a square leg, and I believe they've come through for 2. It was all action. Wicketkeeper comes round, throws the ball back to the stumps. All manner of carnage as Stokes is diving in at the striker's end, as people are fielding and trying to desperately dive towards trying to careen down the stumps, but in the end it's 2 runs and well ran from the Rajasthan Royals. That's
Okay,
not
I'm here
normally
to,
the.
help you out for a bit.
Oh, super sub. You're like David Fairclough.
David Fairclough, what are we going to sort you out? What would you like me to do?
Well, I think you're supposed to be reading tweets. If Al's taken over ball by ball.
I don't mind going back to doing tweets if Andy wants to
No,
do.
you're okay. If Andy takes over tweets, I'll just slide back into my summariser's seat for now.
And that is smashed through the covers by Stokes. He takes a step down the track, and that's between point and cover, and that's 4 to Stokes, and the carnage continues.
Are your children playing video games
the
again?
day.
Is that the issue?
Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
You're right there.
Not
Bobby.
anymore, Andy. Not anymore.
You're good. Okay.
Limited
I'm
yeah, just
here,
the usual. The usual.
I'm
nonsense.
here if you lose your bandwidth again.
May well happen. Shall I
Last
carry
ball
on?
of the
Marvy
over.
bowls a ball on Stokes' legs, and he tucks it behind square on the leg side, and gets a single.
Right. Tweets.
27 for 1 after 2.
I'm trying to think about what you've missed, mate. It's been all go.
It feels like about half an hour, but I've only missed about 4 balls.
Yeah, it feels that way when you're desperately. Let me see. No, I think we're kind of up to date. Anna Forsyth listening in the car outside Arsenal supporters bar in downtown Vancouver. Even though our clocks went back, it's too early. It's of course it's Arsenal Man United this afternoon. Then
I believe it is.
I believe.
But who cares about that when you've got Rajasthan Royals busting a gut to chase down 192 in 13.4 overs? I mean, that's where the action is, everyone. Stokes has started with a blistering 18 from his first 10 balls. 27 for 1 as the score after 2.
I wonder if Mesut Ozil plays cricket. He's got
target.
bugger all chance of getting
Pat
a game
Cummins
of
coming
football.
back for more. Went for 19 in his first over, including being hit for 6 off his first ball by Robin Utapa. And then the next time he bowled to him, trying to repeat the dose, he was caught on the boundary.
It's all Stokes all the time, you know.
Pat Cummins comes round the wicket to Stokes, who edges it,
God.
and that is an absolutely superb flying catch behind the stumps by Dinesh Karthik. A brilliant piece of wicket keeping, diving across to his left, taking it one-handed. That's the end of Stokes.
What a catch!
You missed about, I caught you out. How's that?
Well, he rather started today looking angry with a misfield, and he's now walking off looking even angrier.
What a catch! One-handed. Top
Took
left
off,
hand.
didn't he? Absolutely took off, did Dinesh Karthik. No wonder he gets a warm cuddle and a pat on the back from Andre Russell.
Any further thought of Ben Stokes, who looked behind him and went, "Eep." Oh, best walk off then.
Yeah, sometimes you've just got to take it on the chin, haven't you? Catch like that.
You do.
Fabulous catch. He nearly breaks his bat on the stairs as he smacks it down there. Told you he looked angry.
Right. I think.
Oh, we've lost the grubster again.
We've asked the Andy.
The curse of tooting. Telewest has struck again.
And dealing with limited bandwidth.
Cummins is on a hat trick.
Cummins is on a hat trick.
Wow.
Does this really count as a hat trick though? I'm always worried about these things. It's like counts off different innings, counts off different overs. It feels like it's not a pure hat trick.
Different overs is okay.
Tony,
different matches doesn't count. Or
have you
innings
ever
doesn't
commentated on a hat trick, Tony?
count. No, I don't believe
Do you want to do ball by ball on this then?
No, you're all
I tried
right.
to claim one over different seasons.
You're just trying to curse it again, aren't you? And not have the responsibility.
Cummings in on a hat trick, and that is on Sampson's leg stump, and Sampson plays that out to deep point, and there'll be a single taken. This allows us to jingle up our new batsman.
We talked to the crowd around 9, and by then
Sandra Sampson had begun to shine.
I didn't come down in the last shower of rain, you know, Al. I could see what your game was there.
He used to say, not just off the onion boat.
Yes.
I'll have to work a little bit harder to be able to fool Mr. Bishop. Challenge accepted, though. Cummings in, and it is just on Steve Smith, outside Steve Smith, off stump, and he blocks that to mid-on, and there'll be no run.
I have now rather lost track of who's doing what. Am I? Andy's tweeting, isn't he? He's the king
Yes,
of.
let me know when you want me to run through there.
Got it.
I'll have a go at the end of the over if you like.
Go for it. And do you need me to jump in and do Facebook for you?
If you want to, I mean, if you want to, yeah.
All right, there's a few. I'll just drop in them as I get the opportunity.
Cummings in again, and this is on the hip of Smith, and he's played that behind square, and there's no one within any chance of being able to pick that off. Two Hats Morgan can only shout at his teammates, and that's 4 to Steve Smith to get him off the mark.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4.
So, I suppose now the focus is just on win the game. Cummings in again to Smith, and that's again on his hip. A strangled appeal for LBW. But the ball dribbles to square leg, and there'll be no run. I don't think any danger of Morgan.
So do you think the idea was just have a real dart at the top and see what happens? If we lose a wicket or two, then we'll go back to just
Trying to win the game. I think potentially. I think you always have to kind of have it in mind about what have we got to do to be absolutely secure, and then
it doesn't really match with sending Smith in at 3 though.
Yeah, that's an inside edge, and he's bowled him.
Oh Lord!
Real trouble for Rajasthan now, as Captain Smith has to go, and Cummings has got his man. He's inside edged that onto his stumps, and Rajasthan rolls a 32 for 3 at the end of the third over. It's clipped. It hasn't moved the stumps at all. It's just clipped the bail clean off. So there's no actual. There's no sort of like light firework type things by it being bowled. It's just kind of. It's like clipped one bail perfectly. Just pinged it straight off the stumps. But it's enough.
Not just Australian to Australian, but New South Wales to New South Wales. Very localised affair.
Fratricide.
Cummings comes out on top.
Right, let me do some tweets. I don't know where you're at, so I'll go backwards. Farong says, yeah, who gives a toss about Man United and Arsenal? IPL franchises should change names next season to Hyderabad Hornets and Chennai Cherries. I think
that's a Bournemouth and Watford reference for anyone who doesn't know.
Leah says, I like DK, good to see people finding his keeping mojo. Best looking keeper since Sanga retired. Anna Forsyth says, might as well give Ozil a go. Patty is doing bugger all. I guess that's Arsenal chat. Jay Grover, I don't know how delivery driver assignations work, but JFC getting Naylor would be the short straw, especially on a cold day. The sun doesn't sell in Sheffield either. And Anna Forsyth, listening in the car outside Arsenal supporters bar in downtown Vancouver. Even though our clocks went back, it's too early. Did you do this one from Jay about?
We did. You've gone back to where we were, I think.
Great. Okay. Yep.
So well done.
Mavi is going to bowl the 4th over, and Sampson is resolute in defence. And mid wicket comes round and does the fielding, and there's no run. Shall we jingle up our new batsman? Our blue-eyed limited overs.
Prior ain't no loss, cause we found someone Sattler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Joss Butler. Just because he is Joss Butler. 1 S and 2 T's. Joss Butler.
Well, I think that seals it for me after this ball.
And Sampson leans forward into the drive, but it is fielded at extra cover, and there's no run.
If you were trying to get this target in 14 overs, you wouldn't send Butler at 5.
You would have sent Butler in maybe at
Open.
Yeah.
They just went off to a quick start. Still, maybe KKR win this quickly enough. Bowl them
Well,
out.
that becomes the interesting dilemma of trying to blast your way and try and win the game too early, I guess.
I think both of these teams, in the circumstances, should just try to win.
Yep, and that's
out. Yeah.
Edged.
Lord.
And the collapse continues, and Sampson has given a regulation catch to Kartik behind the stumps. He's in on the action. Mavi's got 1 for 8, but Rajasthan are now 32 for 4.
That said, the Knight Riders bowling the Royals out for 110 or less, having them already 32 for 4, is more than I wouldn't say on the cards, but it's a probability.
Well, would you readjust your strategies about who to bowl when? Would you maybe bowl, coming out of the power play and that?
Maybe. Well, you might think, well, what we're doing is working pretty well so far. They may not change a lot. You would think this is really the last pair of recognised batsmen, Butler and Parrott. I suppose we've got Tuatia to come in next. Well, imagine if Joss Butler pulls this off.
So we'll jingle up our latest batsman.
Rian Parag, he comes from Assam. Oh, he looks like a baby 'cause he's 17, like every teen in history.
Not speaking directly to us, but my friend Nelberg Cricket says 4 down and your best bat hasn't faced a ball. That is the downside of sending Butler in 5.
He may have a point. A really good point. So, 32 for 4, 3.5 overs gone. Both batsmen 0 off 0 balls. Advantage KKO in a big way. As Mavi comes in, and that is right on Parag's off stump, and all he can do is solid forward defensive shot into the offside, and there'll be no run.
So what happened to Grobby? Was it bandwidth problems?
Bandwidth, I think. Interesting to watch Mavi kind of look to the skies as he releases the ball. It kind of like eyes go back into the head as his head kind of goes back, and he's not kind of looking where he's bowling at all. But then again, I'm not sure how many bowlers do look where they're bowling when they're bowling, I guess.
It's one of those things like watching the ball all the way onto the bat. It's not actually possible to do. I mean,
you watch it for a bit.
You look at your delivery spot as long as you can. A really good spin bowler is going to look at the batsman's feet as well and see if you can spot any early movement.
Mavi in for the 5th ball of this 4th over, and Parag will push that ball to point, but cannot beat the fielder, and there'll be no run. A maiden so far, Tony, with a wicket as well.
If you say so. Don't ask me to comment on it.
Poor old Shivan.
I might be
just
the
about
first
to bowl a maiden. And then
I might be the first person on ball by ball to bully their summariser into absolute silence at the last ball of an over.
See if he can do it.
I will come to Tony immediately after the ball's release. And that is good watchful, good length ball outside our stump. No shot played by Parag at all, straight through to the wicket keeper. No run, a wicket maiden, and I'm not sure how many times we could have said that.
Never
in the
in
IPL.
doubt. Always knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Bobili Venki Naidu is going for the Rajasthan Royals, as is Sheikh Vijay, whereas Manjula Sheth is going for the Knight Riders, which would appear to be the more likely scenario, the way we're seeing things, I suspect, at the moment.
Yeah, Farong says so. KKR an outside chance if they knock them off for under 110. What odds are they? Unfortunately, probably can't find odds to do exactly that. Leah says, I need some education on the matter of English nicknames for Josephs. Is it a regional thing? Is it based on social class? I think that might be it. Or something different? Why is it Joe Root and Joss Butler? I think that is a class thing.
Different parents?
Yeah, Jay says, Tony is superstitious. He knows the man snorting the third line will get shot. Also, Nestlers, didn't you mock your friends for taking their rubbish home because it's lonely? We'll come on to get Nestlers back on that when he's on. Yeah.
And he'll be back on in just 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. 5th over coming up.
Cummins, 3 for 24.
3 for 24.
Yeah, very well.
5 games without a wicket or something early on in this tournament, but they do come in bunches.
He's done very well opening the innings here. And that is played by Butler through the covers. Lovely drive in front of square. And the only thing that will stop that will be the boundary sponge, and that's 4 for Joss.
So
almost looks like it's a different game, doesn't it?
Yeah, first ball. Cummins is 3 for 28 of 13 balls. That's
yes. He was 1 for 19 after the first over as well.
I saw it, yes.
Yeah.
See, if it was up to me, I'd have given him 4 for the runs and then 2 for style on that one.
Essentially, Cummins in again, and this is more on Butler's legs, and he turns this square to leg, and there'll just be a single, and Butler will move to 5. Rajasthan 37 for 4 after 4.2 overs. So Andy, I believe
you can cause giving extra runs for style causes teams to win games.
Could you imagine? It's gone to the judges in the event of a tie.
Oh yeah, instead of super overs, how many style points did you get? How cool would that be?
Or the scores are tied, but he's got a 5.6 from the Russian judge, and so Cummins in, and that is on Parag's legs, but he cannot turn that as square as Butler did the ball before. It finds mid-wicket, and there will be no run.
Then more tweets before we swap over. Jay says, oh man, I haven't been banned from Twitter again, have I? No, not to my knowledge, Jay.
Not yet, but there's still another 15 overs to go, Jay.
Well, exactly. So if Kings 11 went out with a whimper, Royals going out with a clatter.
Yes, absolutely, and that's jagging back towards Parag's off stump, but he plays it defensively into the offside, and there'll be no run.
Still, Joss is there. Joss is there, and a bit of support from Parag and Twatia. Is it all over yet?
Well, Twatia's been quite destructive, really, coming in, but he did go off towards the latter part of the KKR innings and did seem to be looking for some treatment on his hands, so it'll be interesting about whether he's truly 100% effective. Probably something that the magic sponge will be able to sort out, as that's back of a length, and Parag can only dab that ball square on the offside, and there'll be no run. So a bit of a change around after this ball. Andy, I think you're coming on to ball by ball.
Yep.
I've got time off for less than bad behaviour.
I've got time off, I think, because people are sick of my voice.
I was going to say, if you thought you got rid of me after the first game, sorry.
If you don't start with a Machiavellian laugh, Andy, I'm going to be very disappointed. This last ball of the 5th over, Cummins in. And past the umpire now, and that is a swing and a miss. Has that been gone? He's gone down the leg side. He's gone. Parag has gone without scoring. 37 for 5 after the end of the 5th over. Cummins has got 4 for 29 after 3 overs.
3 action-packed overs.
And I will leave you in everybody else's capable hands as we send Parag on his way.
Indeed.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
Well, that's the 4th duck we've seen today, and by far the worst.
Well, it's almost off the full face of the bat. Not really a top edge. He's just kind of got underneath and attempted pull or help on its way. And yes, a 0 off 7. Goodness me, how did this happen?
Yeah, so it was 19 for none off the first 5 balls.
Yeah.
And then off the next 4.1 overs, 37 take 19, 18 for 5.
18 for 5, quite the collapse. And yeah, I wonder if, I don't know, were they maybe thinking about run rate and that just...
You've got to have a little bit. Once you've been told that if you win it in 13.4 overs, you've taken it out of another team's hands. You've got to. It must be a little bit. But to be fair, I don't think many of these wickets can be put down to that.
No, certainly. Let's see. Sampson was a very regulation caught behind. Smith played on. What's happened? Stokes had Stokes get out.
Yeah, I mean Uthapur hold out, but
Uthapur hold out.
But Stokes was a nick and a brilliant catch. Cummins dragged on. Sampson caught behind and Karthik bowled behind. Caught behind, both basically off. Batters being done for pace from back of a length.
Well, so it's 37 for 5. It is going to be. We've got a new batsman and a new bowler actually. If you want to jingle them up.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that going on. Yeah, this man who's just celebrating an India call up.
He's bowling to Butler, googly onto leg stump, and Butler tips it into the leg side for a single. Is that
and will now be bowling to this man who's done as much as anyone to keep Rajasthan alive this season. Bowled very well earlier today.
Extraordinary innings where he was about 11 off 25 and then he hit 30 of overs at Kingsley.
Yes, it was earlier in the season. He also burgled another game in the company of Jofra Archer a few games later, and he bowled very well today.
Yes, indeed. 3 for 25 in his 4 overs. Thought he might be able to put his feet up for a bit. Owen Two Hats Morgan had different ideas. And we will see, as Al said, if he is feeling any injury with his hand at all. It's a shorter ball from Chakravarti and it's pushed up to mid-wicket for no run.
Thing is, I mean, we can ignore the 13.4 overs. It was always a remote possibility, but 10.38 and over, 10.5 and over now for 14.4 overs. It's not completely ridiculous.
Well, no, you've got to keep it in mind. I mean, you can't let it go to 13, 14. I keep saying this, you've almost got to bat as if it's just 2 wickets down. Just bat normally and see what happens. That one's pushed out to cover by Twatia and there's no run.
Yeah, Butler is to some extent. He's trying to just play the ball on merit, and he timed his first ball beautifully.
But he's only had 3 balls, I think, 3 or 4.
Yes, and that's kind of what I was talking about with Rian Parag's duck being the worst of the day.
Length ball, it's an inside edge, it goes out towards back at square leg and they'll get edgy single, sketchy single. Even that's not really a cricket word. Comes to the end of the power play, 39 runs, but 5 wickets.
Yeah, and trying to work out if that's... yes, this is Pat Cummins' best... oh no, not quite, he's taken one other fourfer in his T20 career, slightly less expensively.
Has he got 4 now?
Yes.
Wow, yeah. Chakravarti to complete the over, shorter ball, pushed into the leg side. Easy single. No, sorry, was still longer. 40 for 5. Like a resigned look on the face of Josh Butler.
Varun Chakravarti is one of those bowlers you can very easily get stuck with because he bowls at a decent pace for a spinner and he kind of flicks the ball up front of the hand. You don't quite know which way the ball's turning. And so it's very... The batting instinct thing is to stand back in your crease and just nudge it.
See what Tuachi does with this one. Pretty much does that. Played out towards point. Field was there, misfields it. And they get through for a single. As a result, it's 41 for 5 after 5 overs. No, 6. Let me put my glasses back on. What's on Twitter, Nestlers?
Well, Leia says the Russian judge's verdict should be ignored, given that cricket is explicitly not recognised as a sport in Russia. Didn't know that.
Well, some would argue they are correct.
Jay Grover says Trump will give us a Mars base. Vote, people. Leia, how do we know how Machiavelli laughed? Did they find out who he really was and 3D print his larynx like with that pharaoh?
Indeed, whether the Prince is actually a satire. Some people think it is.
Rabinair says, I hardly know what Andy sounds like. He's that soft. Has been for years.
I am very soft. I've got my microphone right up here, so I will try my best. So, with KKR having put a bit of a sprint on in that last over their power play, they were 55 for 1. Royals are 41 for 5, and to add on top of all of that, we got this man bowling.
Good luck, lads.
IPL legend. First ball is pushed out to the sweeper, should be a single.
He is fine. Casts his pearls before the swine. On the field this sun will shine. Cause it is Sunil Narayan.
Yeah, IPL legend, one of the best T20 players ever, and we don't have the custom jingle for him, but there we go.
Never mind. Sanju Samson has the most sixes this season, but that will be small comfort to him if they don't qualify.
Joint with Nicholas Pooran,
who was also not going to qualify. 42 for 5, and suddenly Rajasthan all looking at each other saying, how did this happen? The Ryan's into Butler. It's on middle and leg, and it's clipped into the leg side, and Ryan's after it, and they'll keep it to a single.
Very strange action.
Well, it's been chopped and changed and put through the ringer, and they told me can't do this, can't do that.
Yeah, I don't think if I've ever seen anyone else bowl like this.
Well, I mean, there's a few who bowl in vaguely similar fashion. Varun Chakravarti's not too similar. It's all out the front of the hand.
It's just that stiffness.
It is a stiffness, and he holds his hand right behind him just until the last millisecond. That one pushed up to mid-wicket for a single.
Interesting.
4 for 5.
Interesting. He was doing that hide the ball behind the back thing throughout the CPL. That's the first time I've seen him do it in this IPL.
Oh, he has definitely been doing it in previous games.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Maybe you haven't been on KKR very often.
No, well, certainly earlier in the tournament he wasn't doing it. Maybe because he did get pulled up, didn't he, for a devious action, but then he's come back and now been allowed to bowl, and he's bowling in short sleeves just to prove the point.
Well, it seemed to me that he was holding that ball slightly differently behind his back, and it did come out as a bit of a leg cutter. It took the outside half of the bat. Yeah, have another look at that. It's almost the ball was facing when Narayan had the ball behind him. The ball was facing us, and I think on previous deliveries it wasn't.
Yeah, he was doing that through the CPL, literally hiding the ball behind his back until the last possible second.
Just obviously, it may be something to do with rhythm. No, he's probably doing it every time. It's maybe something to do with rhythm. It's maybe something to do with just concealing his grip from the batsman. That one's played back to him for no run.
It's extra concealment in disguise, and giving the batters who already don't have that much time to react, because Narayan bowls quite quick even for a front of the hand finger spinner. It's denying the batters that extra fraction of a second.
Gone for the reverse to watch it, and no, it's fielded. I thought it was caught just for a second, but he had to do something, because I was just going to say the timeline of the last 15 balls is all dots and ones. He went for the reverse. I think it bounced just in front of the fielder, and on top of everything, Rajasthan's run rate is dropping off a cliff. They're 45 for 5 off 7.
Jay says to me that's because they know if they don't get the delivery sorted in Epping, they're staying in the forest. Who Jay? What delivery?
I think it's hard to follow Jay sometimes, but I think that was from a conversation about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Lowest IPL score ever? Come on, RR, you can do it. His Holiness would be so happy, says Leia.
His Holiness has got more important things to worry about, like whether his team is going to be hilariously knocked out.
Yeah, well, RCB were bowled out against KKR for 49 in 2017, and then in 2018 bought the entire KKR bowling attack.
The entire bowling attack that did it to them, yes. Short-term thinking, if I've ever seen it.
Also, it didn't work. Change of bowling.
Still think Chris Woke's got a nice contract there.
Beware, the evil wizard who lurks in the dark forest. Beware, Kamlesh Nagarkoti.
Yep, it was Nathan Coulter-Nile, Umesh Yadav, Chris Wokes and Colin de Grandom.
Bought them all. Jesus, de Grandom. Decent bat, but he's not a bowler. Nagarkoti comes in to Butler. So hits him on the pad, goes back to the bowler. I saw on CrickBuzz today a few of the TV commentators were bigging up Nagakoti, but his stats don't bear that up. 4 wickets in 10 games and an economy rate of 9.5.
Yeah, he's extremely talented. Possibly is at this stage better suited for other formats than T20 cricket. He and Shivam Mavi both burst onto the scene in the Under-19 World Cup in 2018 and have both been injured quite a lot since. Were both kept on by KKR through their injuries. So they're being seen as the next generation of Indian fast bowlers.
As still happens to a lot of young bowlers, we haven't figured that one out. Butler's down the track, but ends up pulling a short ball behind square leg.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
And really, Joss Butler's going to have to get most of these if they have any chance at all.
Yeah, Tewatia in his 2 impressive innings has taken a while to get going in both of them. If you get it down to 15 over need to look the last 3 overs, Jofra Archer can be quite useful for you. But yeah, we're a long way off that.
We are a long way off that. The batsman just got to play 1 ball at a time. So, in comes Nagakoti again. And Butler again is down the track. Again, it's a bit shorter, but he can't get hold of that one. It comes off something. It's a square leg, and the keeper is round. I expect that's 1 leg by.
Yeah, it's certainly the case that Butler cannot play with the freedom that he might have liked.
Well, I'd say maybe he should anyway. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yes, what you should do with no pressure is, or with all things being equal and a sort of blank slate, is frequently not what happens.
Very frequently. That's the mental game. Tewatia's on 4 off 8. He did try a reverse off Narayan in the previous over. See what he's going to do to Nagakoti, left-handed Tewatia. Nagakoti is in. Short is flashed away. I'm not sure if that is safe. It is. It's dropped in between 3 fielders in the 3rd man area. We get back for 2 and a good throw. Brought out the dive, but I'm pretty sure he's home.
ATM.
I don't think even they'll go upstairs for that. It was a good throw from the man in the deep.
Yes, had a bit of a swish at it. Cross-batted shot went a long way up in the air, but unfortunately right in the middle of a triangle of 3 fielders.
Tripathi who gunned that in next to the stumps.
A very good flat throw, but Tewatia was back for 2 and rather spoiled it by diving after he had made his ground.
It wasn't so much a dive as a sort of 4-stage fall.
I think so. He did go down in instalments. Just the stadium in Dubai in the darkness. Everything else pitch black. That one's played out to Russell, who is taking the standing extra cover role. Gets down to field that one. I still don't think he's fully fit.
Oh no!
Bowl today.
I actually hope he doesn't, particularly if KKR are going to qualify for the playoffs, which it looks as though they have a very good chance of at this point. I've been sort of thinking this for a year or so that, yes, Andre Russell can bowl. I genuinely don't think he's that useful to you as a bowler. Certainly not enough to jeopardise the possibility of losing him as a batter.
Well, just remember that game where he got injured, where they perplexingly brought him back to bowler last over. Almost lost a game. That one is almost helicoptered by Tewatia, sort of flat over extra cover. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but there was an element of the Dhoni wrist in that shot, and it's 4.
1 2 ka 4, 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Absolutely, the lightning quick hand speed from Rahul Tewatia to get under it and make sure that he hit it up and over the fielder.
Well, he certainly wasn't balanced, but you don't have to be all the time.
No,
Almost fell over again.
Yeah, indeed. His memorable rescue jobs have been mostly through hitting over the leg side, but that was a good shot through cover.
Anything on social media there, Nestlers?
Well, Leia says that Japanese jingle reminds me. Does anyone know a language other than Finnish where 1, 2, 3 and 4 have more than 1 syllable? It's a miracle Finland has produced musicians that can keep time.
Yes.
Narayan is in. Butler launches that one over long on. Just put his bat through it. That's the only way I can describe it, really. And off the second advertising hoardings for 6.
It came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stand.
And that one's shorter of a length, and Butler plays it out to Owen Morgan at cover, who's on the edge of the circle. We were talking about conspiracy theories in the first game, and one of the best conspiracy theories there is that Finland doesn't exist.
Huh. I've heard the Australia doesn't exist one.
Yeah, Finland doesn't exist is the entire forums about this. Laid out to cover. Russell is there again. No run. 6...
I'm sure my friends Heini and Mikke from Finland will be interested to hear this.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, no doubt.
And Kimi Räikkönen, you know.
Might be a bot. I've played into the leg side, and there is no run, or he might be in on it.
Oh yes, he's bound to be. That's always the argument, isn't it?
Yes, Cummins is in, and they pick up 2.
I'm going to dream up some conspiracy theories and get the YouTube channel and just see if I can make any money.
Well, you're up against stiff competition.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure I can come up with something.
Ryan continues to Butler, pushes it into the offside, and that should just be 1.
I bet Jay could.
Probably without trying.
Well, he's got the Joss Butler as a conspiracy theory, serial killer going already. Just seeing on screen that Joss Butler has a very bad record against Sunil Narayan in T20 cricket. It's a strike rate of only 105 per 100 balls.
Yes, I did see that flash up. I didn't quite catch the sample size. 2 points separating 7 teams in the table, and that will still be the case after this game. One of these teams will go up to 14, and the other will be getting their bus fare home. That one's to Archer, plays it up to Long On, and it does look like the Rajasthan Royals will be that team on the bus. End of the over, 66 for 5.
Multiple socially distanced private planes home. Or I think probably in Butler and Stokes and Archer's case to South Africa.
No, they are. I did read an interview with Archer. They do get. Archer said 5 days in England. They might get a few more through not having been in the final stages, but they'll get maybe a week, 10 days in England.
All in quarantine, presumably.
Well, yeah, lucky people. Yeah, I think I'd just go straight to South Africa. I have the option. I know they have family and so on. I shouldn't joke about that.
Well, again, but you're in quarantine.
Well, yes. I don't know if they can make some kind of exception, but I'm sure they can't go out.
Well, actually, I know Butler's got his family out with him in the UAE. I know that much.
Right.
Especially
Joffre this interview with Joffre, he was saying he was basically alone in the bubble. I mean, with his team.
Yes, he said he hadn't seen his family for 3 months.
Yeah.
Who? Butler?
No, Archer. Although
wow.
it is well known during the Australia series, wasn't it? Butler basically got his birthday off because he hadn't seen his wife and very young kid for a while.
This big sacrifices players are making for us. You know, it's not surprising. Like Steve Smith has just pulled out from BBL and says, no, it's just too much.
Yeah, a few players have done that, saying they don't want to bubble again. And various things have been put in place about England going to Sri Lanka and only serving a certain amount of quarantine time, getting that officially reduced. It's not easy.
No, we shouldn't ask too much, and I think we should be very sympathetic if players are saying no, even if it's for their country.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we are on a strategic advert break.
By the way, on Linux Lear's question, Spanish. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Quattro, yes.
Yeah.
And probably Italian by the same. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Brenny Keita says Finnish musicians shorten the numbers to single syllables.
I guess you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This was the biggest band in Finland. That was probably some black metal.
Yeah. But if you ever see any interviews with Kimi Räikkönen, they are hilariously funny because he's just so disinterested in anything that he's asked and answers questions. Yeah, he's the oldest Formula 1 driver now. In fact, he's had more races than anyone else in history, I think. He's still going. But he just says, he said, what do you think today? He goes, I don't know. And that's kind of it. He's just completely given up.
Stop being interviewed.
Yeah, kind
yeah,
of.
he'll answer a 3-sentence question with yes.
Yeah, I love him. He's a character.
He does get quite demonstrative with his pit crew though over the radio.
Oh, flipping hell! Yeah, he has a right go sometimes. I mean, he's one of the ones that just beep out constantly when Kimmy comes on.
There was the funny one.
Beep,
I'm not a massive F1 follower, but there was the funny one where he enters the pit lane just as they tell him not to pit.
I'm sure that went down well.
Kind of a law unto himself, old Kimmy.
Well, Nagakoti is going to continue to Tuatia, who punches it back down the wicket, and there's no run. Required rate is still under 12, which is just about manageable, but it really can't get much higher than that if Royals had to have a chance. Having a look at a little preview for tomorrow's game, the Delhi Capitals against the Royal Challengers Bangalore. One of those very flawed teams will finish second and go straight into the, what do they call it, qualifier or eliminator?
Qualifier 1.
Qualifier 1. Punched by Tuatia, it's a good shot, but mid-off is going to be round to keep it to a single. But at least he's got Butler on strike.
I mean, Delhi did look to have all bases covered earlier in the tournament. You know, they had the fast bowlers, 2 very good finger spinners, and a batting lineup that had a good sort of mix. But Rishabh Pant seems inhibited by all of the nonsense that. Well, my theory is that by all the people telling him to bat proper and stuff like that. Prithvi Shaw's not had a particularly good year.
No, I always felt, even from the start, they were too slow at the top. That Iyer and Rahane and Pant, the way he's batting, was a bit too stodgy. That one is punched to cover by Butler, and despite the misfield from Morgan, there's no run.
Yeah, I mean, Rahane's barely played. He's only played when there was an injury and stuff got shuffled around.
He replaced Shaw when Shaw was dropped.
Oh, that's true, yes, that's true. Yes, which was an odd move. Yeah, Alex Carey really provided very little when Rishabh Pant got injured. Hetmeyer's had his moments. Shreyas Iyer's batted a couple of times very well. Shikhar Dhawan got 2 very good hundreds.
200s and then nothing since, which is awfully frustrating for him. Nagakoti is in to Butler. Butler steps away, lifts it over long off, but is it over long off? No, but there was no one there. Obviously that's why he stepped away. 1 bounce for. Must be very difficult to cover all the angles in the field when Butler gets going.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really played the anything behind the wicket yet. I think I would still probably, as my sort of default, have long off and long on back.
Yes, make him play a lap or a sweep. It should have a bit more risk. But mid-off is still up.
Okay, yeah, fine leg is back.
Little shuffle from Butler and then a hard pull shot. Fielder's running round. He does get there, in fact almost overruns it. But they will pick up 2. Yeah, I think that makes sense what Tony's saying. If Nestle stays on tweets. Or
no, it's Tony out and Andy.
Oh, Nestle's going out anyway, yeah.
Yeah, basically we've thank you to Andy for sticking around and helping us fill the Paul Grubby Howarth the Paul Grubby Howarth chalk outline.
You've just replaced Grubby, haven't you?
I replaced Grubby, who replaced Monty.
Ah.
I hope Monty will be back for the later games. As Nagakoti comes in, last ball of the over, out to deep square from Butler. It should be a single, look for 2, but 74 for 5 is way short. They need 119 of these last 10 overs to keep their IPL alive.
Yes, indeed. I believe that is the case. The overall history between these two, played 22, 11 to 10 the Knight Riders lead the Royals. Last 5 is 4-1 to the Knight Riders, and that included the last game, which was in this IPL, which the Knight Riders won by 37. So overall, historically, the Knight Riders have the whip hand, and it's looking like that will continue today. But not if Joss Butler can do something about it, along with Rahul Tewatia, who are both at the crease at the moment.
Well, he's got a lot to do, but they'll be basically pinning their hopes on him.
Yeah.
That is very true. 74-4-5. We've completed 10 overs. We're halfway there. They are going to have to accelerate. 11.8 is that required run rate. On the Royals website, Rahul Tewatia says, time to get down and get the job done for the team. So there you go. That's his intent. And this one is edged. And it's going to run all the way to third man for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Joss Butler. Well, that was a very short and sweet jingle. I'll tell you a little fact about Chakravarti in a moment, as he's in, and this one is pushed away into the onside. He is apparently the only finger spinner with more than 10 wickets in this IPL.
No wonder he's earned his call.
So there you go. Number 8 so far. He's bowling his second over, and this one is crunched away to deep cover. There is a man riding that boundary, though. There will be 2 added to the score. 6 so far from this over. 11 point something. Remember the target. 11.78. So closer to 12. They're halfway there. Halfway through the over. Encouraging enough, especially when you have a man of Joss Butler's quality and power at the crease, and as if to emphasise the point, he's put this, I'm afraid, straight down the throat of Patrick Cummins, and I'm afraid Joss Butler must go.
When he hit that, Tony, I thought it was going to be about how far deep it was going to go.
Well, so did I.
Well, it just never got up, did it? It just never got up.
Together we've done it again. Both were celebrating a six.
And he's got really the bottom half of the bat, and his bat was turned over a little bit. And he was obviously looking to put that up and over. Just went flat, and I'm afraid that's probably it for Rajasthan.
High fives all around for the Knight Riders, who look as though they're riding into the night with 2 points from this game. But never say never until the fat lady is well and truly into the second verse of whatever it is she's singing.
She's certainly warming up.
She's gargling. She's gargling at the moment.
She's gargling, Tony. She's gargling.
Barong says, no offence to the commentary crew today, however I feel as if this game is being played in the bear bubble, so to speak.
In the bear bubble?
I don't know what that really means.
I think it means in a bubble in which there is no bear. I think Farong's looking for a little bit more spicy language and general excitement.
Maybe is that what it is? Maybe. Well,
could be right, could be wrong. I don't know. I'm sure he'll clarify and let us know.
Yeah.
Vartika, who I haven't heard from before, says, "Hey, can R make into playoffs?" Well, if they win this game, maybe, but it's looking a long shot.
It is 84-5. The bear bubble is where one-sided victories live. Okay, of course, because the bear, particularly in midweek games, tends to preside over somewhat one-sided games. I'm with it now. Yes. So another wicket for Chakravarti. He's keeping up that reputation of the most successful finger spinner in this IPL, and he's going to be in past umpire rifle. Half-hearted shout there. Maybe there was a little bit of bat from Gopal, any man at the crease. We are looking at Captain Two Caps, and is he going to demand a review? He has not. Chakravarti in again. This is a little bit down leg. Gopal works it away backward of square. They will take a single.
Well,
Gopal gets off the ignominious 0. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah.
Shreyas Gopal's in. Hey, Shreyas Gopal's on. Hey, Shreyas Gopal. Bats and balls.
Yeah, good try.
81 for 6.
35 off 22, I think it was. But now, at least his season's come to an end. I just can't be having it at 5. It's not right.
No, go along with that. 111 needed.
And
54 balls in
as a
which
friend
to
of mine said on Twitter, they were 4 down before he faced a ball.
Yes. Yeah, I understand that point. I remember you saying that. 192, remember the target? It looks as though Sunil Narayan is going to continue to torment the Royals batsman.
Furlong tells us Chakravarti is the only bowler with a 5 foot in this tournament to date. Well, Patrick Cummins has got one over.
Goodness me.
Have a go.
Knuckle wants the jingle.
Yeah, can see the arms are waving.
He's alright, yes, he is fine. Casts his pearls before the swine. On the field this sun will shine. As it is Sunil Narayan.
Well, that ball was just pushed into the onside. There was no run. There is a slip in place for Narayan. As we're watching Cummins swallow.
He's had a busy day in the field.
Butler catch, he has indeed. Narayan is in. That one's uppish as well. Certainly, same ball, same result really. Gets him a single though. Gopal will move on to 2. But you certainly wouldn't say he was under control. He just didn't get enough of that, Joss, did he? Gave it everything and it wasn't enough. And
No,
Patrick
didn't time
Cummins
it.
barely had to move, and it was into his big hands. He never looked like dropping it. 86 for 2. We're in 2 balls into the 12th over.
I wish. It's 82 for 6.
82 for 6.
82 for 6. 82 for 6. Where did I get 2 from? I was looking at 11.2 ball overs. That's probably what confused me. I am easily confused, as most people will tell you. Not necessarily due to substance abuse, which is where Jay Grover seems to have pegged me. This one is cut nicely by Tuatia. That's going to go the distance, though, all the way along the ground. Glorious shot for 4.
Yeah,
So he really leathered that, didn't he?
I do want to ask you about the whole, Jay Grover thinks you're a substance abuser thing comes from. Is it something you said?
Jay likes to make up his own narratives.
Well, it could be that. This one is Tuatia having carved the previous ball to the cover boundary on this occasion just plays a very solid forward defensive. 5 off the over. Nearly 13, remember, though, the asking rate. So they're going to need to keep her swinging. Andy Ward style. Swing and keep swinging.
Yep.
In comes Narayan.
He does.
And he has swept. And he swept it high over the mid-wicket boundary for 6. Fabulous.
I believe in miracles. Since you came to bat, you sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles. Since you came out to bat, you sexy thing.
82 metres from Tuatia, though, really got hold of that. This one, though, he's just pushed down the ground to wide mid-on, and it will just be a single. And does that conclude that over? Yes, it does. So we'll have some social messages of some description.
Well, let's see if we have got any. Not really, no. I don't want to be judgmental. There are a lot of people around the world who would love to get in the stadium and watch the live sport. We just had a shot of a few of the hangers-on and grifters who get into this IPL game looking at their phones while the action was going on.
Yeah, well, they might be working out the permutations of run rates and the like, Andy, to give them the benefit of the doubt. And any sentence which begins with "I don't wish to be judgmental" normally would end with you being incredibly judgmental. Yeah, I see. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
As these permutations of net run rates and speeds in which they have to be scored, etc., gets
Having
more
been
complex.
burned on it twice, I've made a life vow. Next time someone says to me, "I'm not racist, but," I'm just going to stop.
Yeah, Can I stop you there? But you clearly are. Yeah.
Step away from
99
step away from what you're going to say.
99 off 48. And this one of Chakravarti is steered down to mid-off. And should just be a single. Owen Morgan.
We believe the magic number for KKR is 110. If they can bowl Rajasthan out for less than 110, then we believe they've done enough to their net run rate to potentially greater secure their final
I wonder what
position.
the advice was to Chakravarti then, who's bowled pretty well, to be honest, as this one is pushed again away to mid-off. Another single. But ones and twos are not going to do it.
Even if they don't manage that, every little tick on the run rate helps. So they'll be wanting to either bowl them out or restrict them as much as possible.
Get this done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that is very true. 95 for 6. We're looking at Patrick Cummings.
Not surprisingly.
And indeed, Captain Morgan. Astral Pipes on the side of their jerseys. Great album by Van Morrison, of course. As that one is swept down to backward square, there's a man there. And it will again be just a single. 96 for 6. It wasn't, of course, Astral Pipes. It was Astral Weeks, the Van Morrison album.
I was going to say, why would they be advertising a Van Morrison album?
It was one of his earliest albums, I think. Astral Weeks. It goes back to whenever his early days were. 96 for 6. Halfway through the 13th over. Astral, of course, is to do with the stars, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
This one is.
Or is that celestial?
Steered. No, Astral. Astral, as in my school motto was, one of my schools was Sicatur ad Astra, the way to the stars.
Yep, or Ad Astra, which was that film with Brad Pitt came out.
Yes, indeed.
When films
yes,
come out,
indeed.
it's quite good, actually. Tommy Lee Jones.
And this one pushed away to cover. Who was the famous monk who discovered champagne?
Dom Perignon.
Dom Perignon, of course. Duh, of course. His famous quote was, "I have tasted stars." Thank God he did. Bless him. Chakravarti in again. Last ball of this over. Bat dropped on it by Gopal. Steered down, and that looks close to me.
Direct hit.
He set off, did Gopal. He got sent back. He dived. And I don't think he was back.
All this innings is missing is a comedy runner. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Kartik looks happy in his £300 helmet.
the advertising department of PayTM will be rubbing their hands gleefully. And I think he's back.
He's safe. Yeah, safe.
I do think he's back.
It wasn't a direct hit. The direct hit might have got him.
Yeah, it wasn't a direct hit. He had his bat grounded. Actually, he did very well. In this modern day and age, if you wanted a lesson in how to put in a dive to give yourself the best chance of being in, that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did. He did very well to control the bat. Because you can see that sometimes they do have a habit of whilst diving in the bat to lift up slightly.
No doubt. Someone at PayTM is calculating logo exposure per dollar spent, and that won't add that much to it, because when we had one quick look, we realised it wasn't going to keep PayTM on our screens for that long. And I'm going to stop mentioning because they're not paying us a bloody bean.
Yeah, and they got plenty of exposure with that disputed catch this morning.
Well, yes, indeed. 96 for 6. 13 overs completed.
It's going to be
13, nearer 14 now, that run rate.
Yeah, Pat Cummins is going to come on now, try to get that 5
Well, if only one player so far.
Which did we say was Chakravarti?
Chakravarti, yes, indeed.
You must have known but said nothing at all. Yeah, they were tampering. What you do, Cummins, when they were tampering? Yeah, you knew, Cummins.
Fabulous jingle, I enjoy that one. Great song too. I hear you knocking. Well, I think knocking on the door to get out of the IPL probably are the Rajasthan Royals, but we'll see. This one driven straight to mid-off. Excellent ball by Cummins, and over 14 now goes that run rate.
Well, Gopal isn't doing much. 3
knocking. Oh, very good,
Ahead of
knuckle,
Archer.
Andy. The Punmeister, magnificent, knocking on 7th door. We like that.
Very good. Putting a pun
Excellent
in
stuff.
pundit.
Oh, I was about to commentate on an inside edge. We're looking at the previous wickets of Patrick Cummings.
We would have stopped you at some point.
Yeah, after it's done.
That
would be the usual thing. Cummings in, down comes to Watia. Flicked away through mid-wicket. The 2 men converge and will limit them just to 2 well-run runs. Anything that doesn't go to the boundary at the moment doesn't really massively help.
It doesn't, no.
The Rajasthan Royals. Andy will continue long into the night to tell anyone that will listen that butting Joss Butler at 5 has not worked in their favour, and we do on this occasion completely agree with him, I think. Cummings in, and that was Tawatia, stepped outside of leg, looked to ramp it, didn't really get it, and it's through to the keeper. It's another dot ball, 98 for 6.
Testament to how well KKR batted and Owen Morgan did. They were only 105 for 5 at this point.
They were. No, they really picked up the pace. Morgan did a fantastic job, didn't he? As
He
is,
certainly did, yeah.
I mean, he's quality. He's quality now at adapting to any situation as a which is a fabulous asset to have as a captain in limited overs cricket. This one, full by Cummings. It's going to be a single down to long on.
And didn't want to run. He wanted to keep the strike.
No, I was watching, and you're right. He didn't. He seemed to hesitate, didn't he? And it reluctantly jogged to the other end. In the end, 2 balls left to the over.
Yeah, for a minute I thought it was gonna zoom out to a mid on who was gonna do the honours. Not even throw, just run in and demolish the stumps, and it was like zoom out and it's like oh there's no one.
Hence looks amongst that KKR bench. Does one call it a bench in cricket? Entourage, non-playing group. Cummings in, pulled upish. Does it have enough? I think it doesn't, but it drops well away from the man running around on that mid-wicket boundary. So it will net 2 more, unless they decided only to take 1 for some reason. Surely they took 2 there.
They should have done, shouldn't they?
To only take 2. I mean, that ball was in the air a long time. You probably should have set off thinking potentially there was 3, but I don't think they had that in their minds. Let's see.
Did take 2.
Cummings in again to Gopal. Again he steps back, looking to ramp that. Again he gets nothing on it. Too much bounce, too much pace. But Pat Cummings finishes with a dot, but not a wicket. He will not get his 5er. And Mr. Chakravarti, his record for now is safe.
On the Twitter, Vartika says, whatever it takes, I will support RR. That's the spirit. Leah says, speaking of Van Morrison, at one point he was very interested in the outer space ideas proposed by well-known grifter L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, indeed. Was he, by Jove?
Have you ever seen that film with John Travolta in it? The worst.
It's not good.
Farong says, just to add to the worm theme from last week, which Tony thought we were going to drop.
Oh, Lord, I did, rather.
Do you know the reason why worms are often found in certain brands of tequila?
It's methylene, isn't it?
Something like that.
One that a worm is put in. No, I don't. The reason for it, I don't know. That's a very good question. Hopefully, someone will tell me. Who was that tweet from?
Farong, I think.
Oh, Farong. Well, let us know, Farong, because I don't know. I certainly knew there was there, but not why. This one's pulled towards mid-wicket. Again, 2 fielders converge. Bit of a stumble and a fumble. And indeed, Chakrabarti just looks at his fielder and goes, come on, mate, you can do better than that. But he does restrict them to 2. That run rate now over 15.
Yeah, the batsmen had actually stopped.
They did. Well, I think we all did. I think we all assumed that was done and dusted and would be moving on, but it was a misfield. They say never run on a misfield, but they did on this occasion. In comes Chakrabarti. Looking for a big heave was Tawatia, but he didn't really get hold of it. He's just dribbled it to mid on, and again it will be a single taken. 15 and a half now needed. Cummins today is the most expensive first over of the tournament, but the only spell of the tournament
with 4 power play wickets.
With 4 power play wickets. Extraordinary piece of statting by our extraordinary statter.
Extraordinary
Good stuff.
spell of bowling.
Well, yes, quite right. 4 balls left of this Chakrabarti over. 1 for 17 for him. Once he's bowled those 4, assuming there's no wides or no balls, that will be him done. Onto the back foot goes Gopal. Heaves this away, but can only heave it to mid-off, and again it's just a single. Don't need me to tell you, singles push the run rate up, not down.
Well,
at
these
this
two
stage for the
batsmen
Royals.
have scored 37 off 37 between them, and they're just not good enough to do it.
Well, no. As you said, it's the 6 wickets lost. They're actually doing okay. Tewatia's doing a manful
No,
effort, I
this is my
think.
point.
31
They're
off
not-
26.
They're not really like.
Gopal, on the other hand. Oh, and that's gone
Surely
straight up in the air. Surely
That's not
there's
got
going to
the
be
distance.
someone under that. It's the wicket keeper, in fact. And another wicket has fallen. Chakravarti has another. Tewatia has gone. Catch very comfortably taken by Dinesh Karthik.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you up. How's that?
Yeah.
The instant giveaway. The instant giveaway by the batsman of not looking out but going.
Just looking up.
Just looking out. It's like, that's not got the distance.
You're,
Any distance at all.
Yeah.
Run the risk of whiplash as well as losing your wicket, the way your head goes back there.
Steve Smith is waddling onto the field for some reason. I don't know what.
And it's a strategic timeout.
It is,
whilst
but I'm
we
not
can
really sure what
worship at the
advice-
altar of Seat Secure Drive tyres.
I'm not really sure what you can pass on at this point. Josie Oak, Warlow Pond, back from the pub. Captain Morgan, 2 hats, is still in it, I see.
Yep.
Lucky to have a pub to come back from, mate.
Yes, very. And a lower table clash between United and Arsenal is still a zip all.
Ah. Oh, I'm sure Anna over in
Hoover in
Vancouver is watching that in her Arsenal pub.
Also lucky to have a pub.
Well,
Mind you,
yes,
I say
yes,
that I
yes.
haven't been in a pub in about, God. I was never a great pub.
Well,
person.
I have
haven't
during
been in a long time.
Yeah, well, I have. I've been out for a couple of lunches and had something to eat in pubs, socially distanced, etc. Of course.
Last time we were out was Valentine's Day. That was it.
Can somebody tell me why, just out of interest, strategic timeouts such as they? I suppose it's because it's when the wicket fell, so that would
You
be
can
why.
have them at the end of the overall. Yes.
So it has to be. You can't just stop an over halfway through. There has to be an event that would cause it to make
that's the
sense,
case.
like a lost wicket. Okay.
We believe so. Although,
Who knows?
rhyme or reason,
It would be logical, wouldn't it? I was just looking at the fact there's 2 balls left of the over and thinking, well, that's a strange time to have a timeout. But I suppose the wicket is a natural.
What's interesting
play
is
anyway.
that what's interesting is that the idea of being able to have a timeout is that you don't really need to have one. But there always is one, so it's a nice way of saying a strategic timeout is really an extra advertising break.
Yes, an extra long ad break. Leo is standing up for Battlefield Earth, which is the film I was looking for.
Okay.
Just call it an amazing piece of celluloid shit, if you do.
I think that's doing it, and I think that's really overrating it.
There are some rules. The bowling power play, the bowling timeout has to be between overs 6 and 9, and the batting timeout has to be between. I missed that. Was it 13 to 16?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Both must be taken. Well, absolutely. People have paid good money for have their logos appearing during those
Advertising slots.
timeouts. You can't not take them.
Well, this game is done and done, I'm afraid, unless Joffre does plays an innings of a lifetime here.
Yeah, 16.31 as an asking rate when you're 7 wickets down, and your tail is there to try and thrash them. Is not a good position to be for the Royals.
Is Jofra.
A lot of talent. Will be probably disappointed with the final result. And that one completely foxes Gopal, who will take a single now. Did that come off the pad or the bat in the end?
Yep.
The leading edge, was it? Super delivery. Yeah, it turned.
Yeah.
Kind of got a edge on. I still think there was some pad involved. Bowler, I was going to say flung himself, but he didn't actually fling himself. He sort of stumbled himself to his left, didn't he? Did Chakrabarti. Final ball of my spell this Super Sunday.
Will we be seeing you in the week?
I believe so. 106 for 7.
We'll be here on Tuesday for the last group game.
We
and
certainly
Thursday
will.
for the first
Chakrabarti in, and Jofra Archer really just drops the bat on that and steers it away to cover. Takes an easy single. He'll keep the strike. It's 107 for 7. The Rajasthan Royals are slipping somewhat ignominiously, barring a miracle, to their tournament exit. And to see you there, them there, I think it will be the voice of Nakul Pandey. Take care, all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, the Rajasthan Royals started in a blaze of glory and have ended up just on fire, and not in the good way.
Not in a good way, no.
Pat Cummins was, an entertaining spell, to say the least. 4 overs, 4 for 34. So getting his money's worth. Varun Chakravarti's been very good again today, showing the form that's got him this India call-up for the T20 tour to Australia. And Sunil Narayan's been very useful as well. And the Rajasthan Royals are 107 for 7 and need a very unlikely 85 off 30, with Shreyas Gopal, who's not had a good day with bat or ball, and Jofra Archer, who has been probably the bowler of the tournament.
Yep, he's certainly up there. He's taken a lot of wickets, been very economical, blasted a few players out, blasted some good players out as well. I think he can be delighted with his IPL.
Yeah, and not too bad with the ball, with the bat rather either. Shivam Mavi is back into the attack, and Jofra Archer becomes the latest Rajasthan Royals player to somehow not give a leading edge back to the bowler. It skews off the outside part of the bat up and over the bowler's head, and they come through for a single off the bowling of this youngster.
Like Shivam Mavi's bowling.
IPL jingle should be quick.
Good day for Shivam Mavi. 2 overs, 1 for 2.1 overs, 1 for 9 now. A good day for Varun Chakravarti, as I said, 4 overs, 2 for 20. KKR are another sort of flawed and lopsided team, I think, or at least certainly a team performing very much as less than the sum of their parts, but giving themselves.
Probably say that about everyone bar Mumbai.
Yeah, Mumbai. Mumbai have lost 4 games, and 2 of them were super overs. They have been the best team in the league stage of this tournament. Mavi in wide of the crease beats Gopal for pace, really, outside off stump, who tries to cut and is beaten, and there is no run. This is becoming torturous for Shreyas Gopal.
Well, it is. Just going back to Mumbai, I mean, don't forget they lost Rohit Sharma, had to change their captain. That hasn't thrown them off, and I think they've been very good.
Yep, no Lasith Malinga this year.
They seem to have all the bases covered, and they've just got such a strong core of Indian batsmen. Even if they're not the superstars, there's your Yadav and so
As
on.
Mavi is in, goes for the Yorker just outside off stump. Gopal gets bat on it and takes the single out to point. Yeah, Ishan Kishan's been very good.
That's right.
Especially at the top of the order now that he's replaced Rohit Sharma. Saurav Tiwari's had his uses, which seems a little bit harsh, but no, Shivam. He's been. You saw Surya Kumar Yadav continues to be very impressive, and then you've got the Pandya brothers.
Absolutely, and Kieran Pollard still doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Jasprit Bumrah, I think they won't necessarily win, but they're the best team by a distance.
Yeah, looks at Rahul Chahar's been very good this season, the leg spinner. That was the one area you thought might be a bit of an issue for Mumbai. This is back of a length and flat batted quite hard by Jofra Archer, but Pat Cummins will be able to come around from long off the field. Just a single. 82 needed off 26. Not really sure why I'm telling you that, but there we go. And yeah, James Pattinson's been very useful as the extra seamer, along with Trent Bolt.
Yes, haven't they subbed in Colton Nile for him occasionally as well?
A couple of times, but they subbed him out again.
Yeah.
Colton
yeah,
Niles,
Bolt's been very good. Yeah.
Colton Niles just struggled to take wickets as he did during the World Cup.
Not sure he's really a T20 bowler or a great T20 bowler.
No, I tend to agree with that. Possibly great limited overs. Not a particularly great limited overs bowler. This is outside off stump, and Gopal slaps one out to deep cover. They take a single. They move to 111 for 7, so KKR cannot seal their playoff space in this game, but it should be a very healthy net run rate boost. Won't quite get them above RCB and Delhi Capitals' net run rate.
But it's the one of those that loses, you would think their run rate would drop down.
Yes,
they lose
unless
on the last
the
balls.
Sunrisers win.
Yes, if the Sunrisers win, certainly the Royals, the KKR can't qualify. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, it is now. It is now, basically. Shivam Mavi is in full outside off stump, and Archer takes a single that he was called through for by Shreyas Gopal inside edge onto his pad. He had no idea where the ball was. Shreyas Gopal did. They come through for that single. 5 runs off the over. Rajasthan 112 for 7, and Jofra Archer basically does not really deserve to be associated with this situation.
Leah tells she still thinks Krunal is better than Pandya. Controversial? I don't care.
Better than Hardik, I assume she means, yeah.
I mean, in the same...
Different kinds of player.
Yeah, I mean, Hardik hasn't been able to bowl this year because of his returning from injury, but there aren't many in the world who are more explosive than Hardik Pandya when he gets going and hits 6s and 4s. We saw him last week in the game that Mumbai lost to Rajasthan, but he was extraordinary in the last 5 overs or so. But yeah, Krunal Pandya is a very useful cricketer.
Jofra Archer can't find his way home because he seems to have a map on his right arm.
Yeah, he's got some sort of TV grip or muscle tape, which is very nicely patterned indeed. This man is going to come back into the attack for KKR.
He's alright, yes, he is fine. Casts his pearls before the swine. On the field this sun will shine. Cause it is Sunil Narayan.
Comes Narayan, not taking a wicket yet today, but has bowled pretty well. Aided in that middle over slowdown and the crawl to through the middle overs after the loss of wickets induced by Pat Cummins. He's outside off stump, and Archer cuts him to cover. There is no run. Sunil Narayan in, hiding the ball behind his back ball's a carom ball which bounces up and hits Dinesh Karthik on the chest and then bounces down onto the stumps. Jofra Archer missed the ball by about 2 feet. They're going upstairs to see if
see if this is going to be the worst stumping ever.
To see if Archer's leg might have been in the air as Dinesh Karthik was wondering where his Adam's apple was.
Yeah, it looked like he had his back foot grounded the whole time, but they're just going to check.
Yeah.
Maybe they just think maybe this is out, we can get this over quicker.
No,
It's fine.
no, he's absolutely
unless...
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why Karthik struggled to take that, because that bounced alarmingly from a length.
Archer just doing a little pirouette on the crease, but he had some portion of feet behind.
Yeah, easy decision for third umpire Anil Chaudhary. In comes Narayan again, bowls the carom ball outside off stump. Archer has a swing at it, doesn't time it very well, and thus it bounces short of Tripathi coming in from long off. Jofra Archer is... the body language is very much, I'm too good for this shit.
Well, it's close enough to all-round frustration that probably get away with it.
Or I'm getting on a private jet and going home soon.
As Narayan is into Shreyas Gopal, who goes for the reverse sweep, comes switch
shot.
hit, and he's actually timed that very nicely. Recognised that backward point and third man were up in the circle, gets it over their heads, 4 runs. Where was this? 7 overs ago.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
The number of the day has not been 4 for Rajasthan Royals, and that's been the problem. 75 needed off 20.
He did play that quite well. He cleared his front leg a long way and just allowed him to put his wrist through that one. He's only got to do that off every single ball now to win.
Mm-hmm. As in comes Sunil Narayan. What will he come back with?
gonna
It's another
try.
reverse sweep, which he has somehow managed to. I think he's under-edged that onto his pad over the keeper's head. And the man from third man runs back towards the boundary to flick the ball back into his fellow from coming around from long leg, and they come through 4-2. Shreyas Gopal into 15 off 17. To be fair, the game was almost lost by the time he came in, but it's not been a very good innings.
No, but again, he is batting 8. Doesn't really have any much batting pedigree that I'm aware of.
No, he's okay. Can certainly play that shot very well. He's timed another reverse sweep over the head of Owen Morgan at backward point. 4 runs. Narayan ends up with expensive looking figures of 4 overs, none for 37, which I don't think quite reflect how well he's bowled,
No.
or the context in which he bowled.
No, I think that's fair.
Give it to me 1 time. Give it to me 2 times. Give it to me 3 times. Yeah. Give it to me 4 times.
A little bit of average padding for Shreyas Gopal, and to be honest, that's all that's really left at this stage.
Well,
I suppose minimising the net run rate, or minimising KKR's net run rate boost, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that's what KKR will be thinking about. Find this up for 145, whether they bowl them out or not.
Yeah, and then I guess they're hoping for a very close game tomorrow between RCB and Delhi, and then hoping for
they want the opposite. They want
they want one team to win by a huge margin, yes, don't they?
Yes.
And then they want Mumbai to beat the Sunrisers. So they're in a position where it's not entirely in their hands, but given that was always going to be unlikely coming into today, they've done about as much as they could today.
Oh, absolutely, and certainly Kings 11, CSK, and Rajasthan would certainly swap with them.
Well, for sure. I mean, Kings 11 were okay with the ball, but with the bat, but really flat with the ball and in the field. Kamlesh Nagarkoti is back into the attack. We'll give him a jingle in a second. He's bowling the 18th. Starts with a good Yorker, which Archer digs out back to the bowler, and they come through for a single off this man.
Evil wizard who lurks in the dark forest. Beware, Kamlesh Nagarkoti.
Have we talked about where you are today, Nestus? Did we do that?
Well, I changed it. I've gone back in time to
advert for BP and Laxman.
1952 London.
It's that Piccadilly Circus. Outside off stump, and driven hard by Shreyas Gopal through the offside, this time with a cut shot rather than a reverse sweep straight to deep point. They come through for 1.
I didn't realise you travelled in time as well as space.
Oh, well, I've got a little machine that I use. Yeah, it's like when advertising was proper. Bags and booze and petrol.
Yeah, petrol and makeup.
What happened to Mary Kwan?
It even seems to predate the Coca-Cola sign.
Yeah.
Which I think I read somewhere is the longest running physical advert of all time.
Do you know that there's some buildings in New York where the advertising on the outside is so expensive they don't bother renting out the space?
Wow. Archer's given it the long handle. That was a length delivery from Kamlesh Nagarkoti, but Archer just got under it a little bit. He did give it the long handle, but not long enough. Simple catch for Shivam Mavi, and Kamlesh Nagarkoti has a wicket. And Chopper Archer's IPL didn't deserve to end like that. He has been absolutely magnificent with the ball, occasionally destructive with the bat. He's been head and shoulders Rajasthan's best player, and to my money the bowler of the tournament, but he has to trudge off with an innings of 6 off 9.
Go OUT the window, go OUT the window, go OUT the window, 'cause OUT spells out.
125 for 8.
Yeah, disappointed Rajasthan fan there, expressing his displeasure. You're lucky to be there, mate. And yeah, other bowlers of the tournament, sort of Bumrah and Rabada.
Yeah, Anrich Norkia has been very impressive in patches, for sure. I mean, Varun Chakravarti's been good, but I think those guys would be the Rashid Khan as well. I can't forget Rashid Khan.
Always up there, yep.
Karthik Tyagi facing up to Kamlesh Nagarkoti. Successive generations of under 19 strike bowlers. Karthik Tyagi, one of the opening bowlers for India under 19s at this recent World Cup this year, along with Akash Singh, the left armer who didn't get a game for Rajasthan. Nagarkoti starts with a full toss, which is pushed down the ground for a single by this man.
You won't believe the things he's seen. He even wanted to meet the queen. All that etiquette went over his head, so he ended up playing cricket instead.
In fact, that was Shreyas Gopal who drove that down the ground, because of course they crossed while the catch from Archer was in the air. Tyagi does get off the mark with a single to point. 4 runs on the
agrees
wicket.
with you.
Sorry?
Farong agrees with you. Jofra, number 1 bowler, especially when you take into account the number of dot balls he has bowled.
He's been unplayable at times in the power play. He really has, and has made some of the best batters in the world look like they're facing someone who's too quick for them and too good for them. He's been absolutely fantastic, and is one of the very best white ball bowlers in the world.
Yes, I think at times some of the batsmen opening up who haven't been the best batsmen in the world have really been made to look like novices, because they're not used to that pace around their rib cage in T20.
Well, absolutely, and the movement as well that Archer can generate, as well as that sharp bounce from a length. Good bouncer from Kamlesh Nagarkoti. Shreyas Gopal didn't want to know, ducks out of the way through to Dinesh Karthik. It goes 4 runs off the over, plus the wicket. Nagarkoti has 1 for 22 off his 3. Rajasthan Royals need 127 for 8 and need a theoretically possible 65 of the last 2 runs. Don't worry about it.
Ferdosh Hussain says KKR is win.
Stick your neck out.
And Khan Tanvir is with us on YouTube and has a symbol of the YouTube with a house on the top, a roof on the top. I'm not quite sure what that means. But welcome along, Khan Tanvir. Hope you're enjoying the coverage.
So tomorrow, I don't think you can blame us for looking ahead a little bit at this point. Tomorrow it's Delhi against RCB. On Tuesday, Sunrisers against Mumbai Indians. We will be covering that game. And that will be the one where everything will finally be sorted out.
Yeah, I think that game is actually more important than the Delhi RCB game. The Delhi RCB is just a question of identification, but the Sunrisers game makes a genuine difference for 2 or 3 different teams. As this is a full delivery from Shivam Mavi, and it is pushed out into the onside rather by Karthik Tyagi for a single. That we know one of Delhi or RCB are going to qualify and finish second. We just don't know which one yet.
Yes,
but the Bear might get a decent game on Tuesday then.
He gets a game that matters for sure.
And then whichever one it is, they're going to play against Mumbai on Thursday. We'll be covering all the playoff games.
Yes, we will. Thursday's first qualifier, Friday's eliminator, Sunday's second qualifier, and Tuesday's final, which all are at 2 p.m. UK time. We'll be on air at 1:45 p.m. UK time for all of those. A full delivery from Shivam Mavi. Gopal pushes this out for 2 runs into the onside as Rahul Tripathi gets the throw away quickly. In fact, they might have actually only taken a single there, so quickly did Tripathi get the throw away. They have good fielding and good throwing again from Rahul Tripathi. Theoretically, Rajasthan can do some damage to KKR's run rate in the last 2 overs, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Not particularly. How's this game? Yeah, just draws out to a close.
Yeah, it was fun and it had potential for a while. Very good catch eventually. Slower ball from Shivam Mavi. Karthik Tyagi pushes at it, a leading edge, and finally one actually carries to the bowler. Mavi sticks out a hand, doesn't quite gather it cleanly first time, but takes it on the 3rd attempt. Good awareness and good calmness from Shivam Mavi. He's picked up his second wicket, 2 for 15 in 3.3 overs, which he can be very happy with, and Karthik Tyagi is gone, and yes, the large soprano is just testing her mic. Good caught and bowled.
That ball looks like it needs to be changed. It looks like it has something hanging off it there.
Well, they haven't quite managed to bowl them out for 110, but they're not far off. And KKR might be in a situation where they only need maybe a 10 or a 20-run win in that game between Delhi and RCB to qualify.
They are changing the ball.
Yes, they are, and this man is going to have to face up to that changed ball. Been a bit of a sort of non-season for this man.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or more. The bloody red Baron who's rolling up the score.
Yeah, very promising player a few years ago, but is now sort of bumbling along with the middle rank of Aaron among Indian fast bowlers.
Didn't really do enough with it compared to like Kumar and Shami. And
no, indeed. Interesting to see how he might have been managed if he were a few years younger. Good from Shivam Mavi, tight into the body of Varun Aaron, who's hit on the back pad and it dribbles out into the offside. There is no run. Yeah, he was a bit wild, really, Varun Aaron.
Well, Shivam Mavi could end up with some very good figures. He's got 2 for 15, just 2 balls left.
Yeah, indeed, it was a good reaction caught.
Catch.
Good reaction caught and bowled. Got the hand out quickly. It bounced off a few different parts of the body, but he kept his cool. It's very easy to panic when that ball bounces up off a hand. In he comes to Varun Aaron, looking to finish this in style, back of a length, and Varun Aaron pushes to backward point, and there is no run. You know, I don't know about you, Nessa. I always think this in tennis. I'd rather see someone win it with a winner rather than have it won for them by their opponent hitting it into the net.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. What, you'd rather see them bowl them out?
Yeah.
Dump flying.
Yes, absolutely. Excuse me, absolutely. Which will make a bit of a... Sorry, beer went down the wrong way. Last ball of Shivam Mavi's spell. It's a good slower ball, and Varun Aaron digs it out back to the bowler. There is no run. Good day at the office for Shivam Mavi. 2 for 15 off his 4. Supporting the work of Patrick Cummins and Varun Chakravarti very well. Rajasthan Royals are 129 for 9 and really have only been in this chase for about 5 balls.
Yeah.
Well, Twitter's gone very quiet.
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of turned in for today, but don't forget, when KKR were 100 for 5, Rajasthan was well in it and maybe even on top.
Yeah, it was a fantastic innings.
Turned that round.
Brilliant innings from Owen Morgan. And good cameo from Andre Russell, 25 off 11, even though it won't feature on the top scores. They're still a bit over reliant on the middle order KKR. The top order's not really fired at all, but they've got match winners for sure.
Yep, they always have a puncher's chance if they make those playoffs.
Nagarkoti is going to bowl the last over. We'll start with a wide, which is nicely taken by Dinesh Karthik, diving down the leg side.
Wide.
I wonder what they do. Do they hang around for a day before they fly out, or...?
I don't know. Well, it depends where they're all flying to, doesn't it? We were talking about this earlier.
You don't want to book your flights assuming you get knocked out. So
well, they'll be chartered, won't they? They'll have to be.
Oh, you can't. Most people can't fly out of England. It's Friday.
In comes Kamlesh Nagarkoti, back of a length and driven off the back foot by Shreyas Gopal. It might go away for 4. No, it won't. The man will come round from deep backward point to... deep backward point, that's not a word. From deep point to field, and they come through for a single.
I think you can have a deep backward point.
Maybe. In any case, it wasn't accurate in that case because he was slightly in front of square. Tomorrow's game between Delhi and RCB is at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi, and the Sunrisers Hyderabad Mumbai game is in Sharjah, which is the venue that has seen the most dramatic slowdown in terms of scoring rates. It was quite slow and tacky yesterday.
Still got the short boundaries, I'm guessing, but
it does. Yes, it does.
Well, they want to magically increase them.
How much of a factor will Rashid Khan be on that pitch, which is starting to fall apart? In comes Nagarkoti to Varun Aaron, who blocks between the legs of Shreyas Gopal, and there is no run. It's going to look for a red inker. 4 balls left to do so.
None of the playoff games are at Sharjah, are they?
No, it's Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
Yeah. I think that's a decision they made as the tournament went on. I think.
Yes. Also, I think the women's challenge is all at Sharjah.
Okay.
So they got kind of fobbed off with that. Also got fobbed off with a challenge rather than an actual IPL.
I can kind of see it. They want to put on 50 games of women's cricket.
Well, not necessarily a full IPL, but not an 8-team IPL, but certainly at least a proper round robin.
They wouldn't fly all those teams out to Dubai.
Nagarkoti in a sharp short ball which hits Varanaran somewhere about the. I'm not sure if he got glove on it, but somewhere around the upper rib cage, and it dribbles out into the offside. There is no run. The the Rajasthan Royals owners being shown all looking dejected. Off the bat handle, in fact, with the bottom hand off the bat, Michael Kasparovich style.
Off the bat and helmet.
Yeah, well, off a little bit of everything. He'd have no idea, really, did he?
It's very typical of the government bringing a lockdown just as this finishes. What are we going to do?
There'll be more cricket on.
Actor.
There'll be more cricket on. England are
when
in
does
South Africa.
South Africa start?
England are in South Africa soon. Nagarkoti in back of a length, and Varanaran backs away outside leg stump and flat bats it to Morgan at cover, and there is no run.
Oh, are we covering that? Are we?
Oh yeah. We'll be covering
Is it one dayers or is it? It's not test.
3 ODIs, 3 T20s.
No, actually.
That should be at a reasonable time as well.
Yeah.
Andy likes that.
I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, South
Hey, look,
Africa.
other people like red ball cricket. That's fine.
South Africa's very friendly for us, time zone wise. Here in the UK. Not sure how good South Africa will be, to be honest. Nagarkoti is in again, and another short ball which Varanaran swishes at, hopefully, and it goes through to the keeper. There is no run.
Well,
Morgan.
they might get the smallest moral victory of not being bowled out. That was cold comfort.
Morgan there keeping them focused, even though there's only one ball to go.
Standards.
Yep. I don't know what the equivalent of a bowling team of not running off the last ball is.
Well, when you're 80 behind, I can excuse it.
Well, no, I'm just trying to, that thing that Darwin Milan got into trouble for not running off the last ball, even though he'd scored a brilliant 100.
Everyone in the world should get into trouble for when they do.
Oh, I agree. I don't really see the downside of ever running off the last ball.
No, especially in the European Cricket League.
Yeah, well, yes. In it comes, last ball of this match. Last ball of Rajasthan Royals IPL 2020 is a dot ball which is limply prodded at by Shivam Mavi. And the Kolkata Knight Riders, well, they've not quite made it safe and beyond the margin of a Sunrisers Hyderabad win, but they boosted their net run rate quite significantly with a thumping 60-run victory against the Rajasthan Royals, who in the end were too reliant on a few key personnel like Jofra Archer, like occasional bursts from Sanju Samson, one brilliant 100 from Ben Stokes, and a couple of ridiculous burgles from Rahul Tewatia. In truth, not enough players performing to their level, and a lopsided team crashes out of the tournament.
Well, do you know what? I think they're going to finish bottom. Almost certainly. Looking at the table, I think their run rate will slip below CSK's. And they'll be bottom of the league.
Yes, which...
Waiting for this table to update so we can see KKR's run rate.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, they should go into fourth.
Well, they will. They will go into fourth on 14 points, but I'd like to see how close that run rate is to Delhi Capitals.
Yeah, the magic mark was 110. Rajasthan ended on 131, so it won't be quite all that close.
No, but they've definitely done them. They've done everything they could today. It was probably a bit unreasonable, even before the game, to expect them to make up that entire run rate. But I think they'll be.
Oh yeah, it was borderline
what
ludicrous.
They've done today.
You know, they gave themselves half a chance with getting 191.
Sure.
Which on the thanks to Morgan and Russell, and Tripathi and Gill did their bit to some extent. Probably Gill more than Tripathi. The decision to bring back Andre Russell proved very important.
Yes, and I'm sure they'll keep him in for any playoff games they'll play, even if he is only on one leg.
Yeah, I mean, he can still hit sixes.
Actually, but they'd have 5 days because the game wouldn't be till Friday.
Yeah, and look, I mean, KKR used 5 bowlers and didn't need.
Here we go.
As I said, they didn't need Andre Russell. Here we go.
Yeah.
Minus 0.21. It was not that far away from Delhi Capitals and the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Rajasthan Royals do indeed finish bottom of the table on net run rate, level on points with the Chennai Super Kings and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. So what it means is Mumbai will finish first. Whichever one wins tomorrow out of RCB and Delhi will finish second. Whichever one loses is out.
Not
necessarily, actually, because then... Yes, actually, sorry, yes. Basically, it all hinges on the Sunrisers. If they beat Mumbai, then only one of RCB and Delhi can qualify, depending on net run rates. It's very confusing.
It is. I'm going to have a stab at this and say that if 110 was the number they needed to bowl them out to overtake, then what were they, about 20 more than that?
Rajasthan Royals got 131 for 9.
20 more, yes. So that suggests that 20 runs, or maybe 20 balls, is the sort of margin of victory that RCB and Delhi will need to avoid. It's all a bit complicated, but yes, Nakul, I think, pretty much summed it up as well as anybody could.
Yeah, okay. So KKR need RCB, whichever one of RCB or Delhi wins, to be an absolute thumping.
No, I think 30 runs would do it.
Well, 30 runs is, in the context of a T20 game, is pretty hefty. But anyway, keep a close eye on that game and on the game that we're doing on Tuesday between the Mumbai Indians and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. But one thing we do know is that if the Sunrisers win, they're through.
Yes.
And they're through in second place, actually, if they win. Because their net run rate is...
No, they wouldn't.
Are they not? Their net run rate is significantly
yeah,
better
but
than...
whoever wins of RCB and Delhi...
Oh, that's true. They'll be on 16 points. They'll be in third place then. I'm going to get off before I try and do any more maths. But thank you very much to everyone who's joined today. Thank you to Andy. Thank you to Nestlers. Thank you to Tony and to Al and to Paul, albeit briefly. Keep an eye on the RCB Mumbai game, Delhi game tomorrow. It'll be important. And then definitely keep an eye and an ear on the game on Tuesday, which we'll be here for from 1:45 p.m. between the Sunrisers Hyderabad and the Mumbai Indians. If the Sunrisers win that, they are into the IPL playoffs after not making it into them last year. And then we'll be here for the all of the playoff games. Qualifier 1 from Dubai on Tuesday. The Eliminator from Abu Dhabi on Friday. Qualifier 2 from Abu Dhabi on Sunday. And the final from Dubai on Tuesday the 10th of November. But please do join us on the 3rd at 1:45 p.m. UK time. Until then, from everyone here at Gorilla Cricket, goodbye. Oh, and don't forget our Just Giving page. justgiving.com/fundraising/ gorilla-cricket-in-the-bag. Is that enough hyphens? Yes, it is. It's in our pinned tweet. Give money, stop children starving. Bye.
See you later.
Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but then rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy,